Woolie, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be completely honest with me.
Yeah.
Am I short?
Are you?
I don't know. I'm asking a trusted friend here.
You're asking. Okay, you're. I'm not gonna.
I noticed the media isn't no. Let's. Okay.
But you're also asking the wrong person, because to be perfectly honest, I don't know.
From up there, we are all but ants.
I super don't notice. I honestly, there's been a lot of times in life that I have not noticed someone being a little bit here or there. Like it really.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It's like when people ask me about like eye color, and I'm like, I don't. Me and my family all have the same dark colored eyes. We don't notice that shit. Like I don't notice. I'm sorry, I didn't blue or hazel or green. Like that doesn't. It's not a thing. I just don't read that as information per se. So I don't know.
Okay.
I shorter than me is all I can register.
Okay, because I was at PAX, and I'm not shitting you here. First 3 fucking people I met were like, man, you're actually shorter than I thought you'd be.
Huh.
And you know what? One of them, she was this girl. She was very nice. She was cool. This little fucker was like 4'11".
Okay.
And I was
yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I mean,
and it's just, it's something that I think what it is I have a tall face. My face is long, and I think people see it and assume that I'm not. But like, Woolie, I'm a sturdy 5'7.5". Okay.
Oh. Okay. So then you celebrate then.
Well, look, I'm not that small, okay? And I'm not insecure about it either. In fact, I'm so not insecure. Here's a list of fictional characters I'm taller than. Wolverine, Vegeta, Levi, probably other X-Men. I don't know, but Gohan when he's little. And the list goes on.
So this month, the first week of this month was dedicated then to you.
Whoa.
From May 5th to May 9th was Short King week. 5'5" to 5'9". That's
okay. So that's it.
You're in there.
Okay. That's it. Okay.
You're in there.
Okay.
You're
fine.
in there.
5'7.5". So like I do kind of, I'm scraping against that upper top.
There you go.
Why do you keep smiling when I say and a half?
Well, I mean, like it's.
No, go. What is it?
Do you celebrate half birthdays too? Do you count sleeps before?
Okay. Look,
before Christmas?
I've been through this before on stream. Okay, if we want to round to the nearest, then I'm 5'8", but I'm not 5'8". I'm 5'7.5". Okay, so if you want to say 5'8", we can say 5'8".
Yeah. I guess it like giving off the energy of being something, and then people going, "Oh, I thought you were another thing," is weird, I suppose. I don't really get that. I haven't gotten anybody go like, "Oh, I thought you were shorter or taller."
I guess
I'm
this
right
is
where
kind
people
of
think I am.
This is why I was reluctant to bring it to you, Woolie, because I feel like you don't really understand what it's like for someone to kind of look at you and kind of just make judgments about you based on your appearance. Like there's a privilege that you have in that regard, and that's why I thought that just this wouldn't land with you. That you wouldn't get it.
It's true. I've lived my whole life not knowing. I here I've been in that just expected height range. Yeah, I look, I can't say that. Have you faced, discrimination? Have you had to reach for something and then someone patted you on the head and went, there, it's okay, we got this, and reached it for you? Have Have you had to kick up the booster seat? I don't know. I feel as if you've always just registered as like, oh yeah, people are there, you know, you're in.
Okay. Yeah, it's just 3 in a row, Woolie. That'll get you.
I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I think you know, I think what are we, average human. I think what are we looking at here? You're fine, right? 5 feet 7.5 inches is the average world. Well,
that's me exactly.
Look, you are.
I'm not short. I'm average.
You are the global average.
I am exactly the average. Maybe even slightly more. Maybe I'm tall.
Done and done.
You know, Woolie, tall guys like us, it's a different world up here, right? I'm Eyepatch Wolf.
I'm Woolie Versus.
And we are... Versus Wolf! Oh. Woolie, I'm coming into this podcast pretty hot. Wanted to talk about Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Let's go.
Okay.
Oh now, my God. So many thoughts. So many feelings.
Absolutely, but we got to drop a content warning up front. This game is so fucking French. I wrote down a list of French things that happen. And I'm not far in. I'm like maybe 3 or 4 hours, okay?
Okay.
The first character you talk to has a striped shirt and a neckerchief.
Yes.
Okay.
From this point forward, on dit Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Okay?
I can't. My neck can't.
C'est français. It's so French, unapologetically, aggressively French.
Aggressively, French. And they're not trying to hide it like at all. French, yeah.
Yes.
The world-ending event sounds like cheese. The gommage.
Le gommage. Oui, oui.
At one point, a kind of puppet character shows up, and your party loses their fucking minds. They're all like, yeah, this is fucking great.
You have to find secret mimes hiding in corners and fight them for
when
cosmetics.
You fight the mimes, accordion music plays.
Oh, God, it's great. It's so great. I just love that this amazing French RPG that came out of nowhere is like fully embracing where it's from and where it's made, you know? Like, this is an FRPG. Like you in the like Japan running through Tokyo is a thing that happening in a lot of RPGs. Here you are running through, you see an Eiffel Tower, it's not doing great, you know, and I mean the names Gustave, Maël, you know, like everything about
Lumiere.
I love that, and the particular, like the main character and like the hairstyle and everything. I'm like, oh, I worked with that guy in QA. Like I know people like this. I live in French Canada, man. I'm like I'm right there with everyone and everything. And I want to say like even running around in that intro, like there's like the way it's directed and the conversations the characters have feel very French foreign film, right? As well, like there's a feeling of that is like you and you're running around in the intro and the character is like I can see you two are in love, and they're like, oh well, we broke up actually, and he's like, that has nothing to do with affairs of love, you know. And it's just like this moment of like, I didn't ask you about whether you're still together or not. I said I can see that you're in love, you know.
Yeah. like okay, I'm not saying that it should be ashamed to be French, but it is very unashamedly French. Like that like this is not a French video game. This is an unashamedly French video game, and that's different. There's a distinction there.
It's my favorite part. I love how proud of the identity and how bold it is about it, you know. You cannot mistake where this game is from and what it's doing the entire time. Especially like as you progress further into, like there's moments where you cut to like a black 4:3 old style like vignette, you know, and like there are things that are just like told in old classical French film way. You wouldn't be, you know, surprised to see a name like Vincent Cassel popping up or something like that. Like it's great. It's so great. Yeah. In addition to the game itself being rad as fuck.
Okay, here's the thing. So content warning out of the way. I think we've adequately prepared people for, you know, what awaits in this game. And I'm only saying this like 4 hours in. The game itself is kind of fucking fantastic. Like, this is... I could go on about the battle system alone and what it does and why it's so fucking impressive. Like, it is one of the best battle systems I've ever experienced. It is absolutely fantastic. It's like all the best bits of Persona crossed with like the fucking, like getting deep down in your fucking materia systems. No, okay, it's not even the materia system. I was trying to think today, and today was the first day I really started putting shit together in terms of like different stacks and effects carrying across multiple characters. You know what it reminded me of? Mm-hmm. Darkest Dungeon 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I could see some of that. I've heard the comparison to junctioning. I've heard different things. For me, one big element that I feel the vibes of this game brings out is Lost Odyssey. That is
never played it, but it is
humongous Lost Odyssey vibes, and that's what got me excited about it the first time I saw the first trailer of it. But John, like, let's not mince words. This is Game of the Year contender, sitting right there right now for me.
So, okay, I was actually talking to Fox about this, and this was kind of really before I'd gotten too far into the game. But Fox said to me, like, his words were, this is beyond Game of the Year. This is a Game of the Decade contender. And I know it's easy to hear something like that and think like it's hyperbole, but what I was saying, I've chatted to Fox nearly every day a little bit about games for the last couple of years. I don't know how long now. I have never heard him say that about any game. Like, when he says that, he means it. Like, Fox is not like overly excitable with his opinions on games, and I am starting to see it. Like, I don't necessarily know it's going to be that for me. I completely see that it's walking in that territory. You know what I mean? So,
okay, quick thing. Where are you at right now? Do you know what part of the game you're in?
I'm under... I'm in C, France.
Okay, so you are in the first act.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, so I am approaching the end of, I think, the second act. And when you talk about, like, that whole bit, I'm like, one thing is clear. I'm going to be talking about this game for the rest of my life. Like, I can tell that the things it does are so interesting and novel while also embracing a lot of tradition about RPGs that this is going to come up constantly, right? And not just because I'm somebody who loves parrying and defense and, you know, gritting yourself through harder battles than you're expected to take on and stuff, but because there's an element of the game that I felt was present from the beginning. And the more you progress, you start to see it, and you start to see like the things that the creators of the game are interested in, with the references, the things it wears on its sleeve, and you find out very, very quickly that, we are cut from the same cloth. Because I don't know if you've heard or seen, but Guillaume Brioche is the director.
His YouTube channel
has a YouTube. Do you know what's on that YouTube channel, John?
Yes, I do.
It is Devil May Cry 5 S no damage runs using Royal Guard on Virgil. That's it.
So that is the most unsurprising shit possible.
I'm destined to love this game.
This turn-based RPG has one of the best feeling parries I have ever experienced. Like, we are talking like Street Fighter 6 Street Fighter 6
Perfect parry?
Drive impact.
Okay,
like,
okay.
That is how good this feels, because, like, you know, it's a turn-based fight, an enemy comes up to you, attack you, you parry at the right point, and, like, you get this fucking massive camera pull out and smash in, and effects go everywhere as you, like, sweep their attack to the side and land your own, and it feels fantastic. You have the dodge system. So, like, there's also a dodge. There's a dodge if you want a more generous kind of evasion window, but it doesn't do any counter damage. And so what you start doing is against every enemy, you start by dodging. And then when you start nailing those perfect dodges, then you start bringing out the parries. And
that's it.
Beautiful. And, like, I don't want to get too into the nitty gritty about the combat, because I know we'll be here all day. And
we can.
Trust me, we have other shit to discuss. Clair Obscur is fantastic. Like, okay, one other thing I just kind of have to talk about as well. So, Woolie, this may be in our distant future on some far-flung episode of Versus Wolves, but there is the arc that comes after the Chimera Ant arc is called the Dark Continent arc.
Ah, okay. And
the Dark Continent arc, I'm not going to say anything like about who is in it or who might be left or anything.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about the Dark Continent is there is a really fucked up continent that no one has ever survived.
Okay.
Let's go there.
Okay.
And like, the foreshadowing they've done for the Dark Continent and all that, like, it's still very early on, like, in the manga, but the foreshadowing and the setup and everything they've done have been incredible and have bestowed that continent with such a horrifying feel. Clair Obscur nails that in the first hour and a half. You get to the Dark Continent, and it is so much more fucked up and beautiful and horrifying than you could ever imagine. Like, I don't want to spoil what happens, but it's very much like we're doing this. Oh.
Yeah. So, like, everything you're talking about, I'm like, there's a million things to say that we just have to, like, cut. But, like, the idea of, well, for one, with Hunter x Hunter, like, as I'm watching, like, net impact footage and stuff, I'm like, oh boy, I'm seeing stuff that who knows where that's from or what arc. So I'm seeing the future on that. Anyways, never mind with that video game. But the what you're describing about holy shit, everything's popping off is very the story. It has a lot of the great fun things about a story, like Attack on Titan in the beginning, when you don't know what's going on and you're kind of just like, what is this world? What's happening and why? And every little revelation is a huge deal. You know, down to the point where there's even, like, you start the game, there's even a key to a door that you don't know. I'm like, I love that shit, right? But all this is as well important is that, like, when you're just, not to go too far into the mechanics and stuff, but the parrying and dodging is, like, I was wondering about that, where I'm like, you'd still have to have good timing to do this. What if you're somebody that is, like, not able to, right? What if you're somebody that's like, I don't know if I can dodge some of these really hard patterns that the enemies are coming at me with, much less, like, getting to parry them and stuff. And you can build your character in a way where you can play it like a Final Fantasy game, where you take hits and you dish hits. And, you know, your ability to evade and do stuff like that is just optional, essentially. But it gives you the freedom to do so much with the game that you don't have to necessarily rely on that part. And it even takes into account, because there's more mechanics that get introduced later on, it takes into account as well that, like, somebody who's not as good at timing might struggle with that and might miss out on that part of the game. And it gives you other things to enjoy so that you're not, you know, like, just kind of riding through having a completely different RPG experience from other people who are, like, parrying and dodge beasting their way through the game. It thinks so much about, like, how to make sure everyone's enjoying combat and how to present it in a way where you can use the system against itself and, like, breaking it while it's cheating, so you're cheating back, and, you know, it's so fun.
So I had an experience recently where I started to see the path in terms of a couple of different abilities and how they link together, and I was like, is this actually going to work? And then watching, like, 2/3 of a boss's health bar melt after about 8 turns of preparation.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Okay. Like honestly, like, this is a game I'm going to be speaking about for a very long time. Yeah. I felt this when I was playing Disco, and I'm feeling it now, right? This is important.
It's awesome.
This game's
important.
Important.
Just final note about, like, in terms of specifics, I wouldn't say that I'm in love with any of the characters. I believe every single one of them. Like, the shit I described a moment ago about the Dark Continent, the way they react to that, the information they have, or the exchanges they have over it, and like talking about what they should do and what a fucked up situation this is. So well written, so great,
fantastic. And like the conversations the characters have, I agree, and that continues. And there are moments where you expect them to become bits. You expect them to become characters in a fictional story, and instead they have really mature, reasonable, emotional like resonance with each other. There are times where you see someone get frustrated and then go, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Let's talk this out. You see these little things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's how people behave and talk to each other. And it's not always just a set off point for the next, chapter or the next big episode problem or whatever the case is. I love how great it is about everything regarding that. And you're going to see more. You're early on. You're going to see more. It keeps going.
Yeah, I at the rate it's going, I am expecting to love these characters. It's kind of early in that regard.
For sure.
I came away from my session yesterday with this really distinctive, with this thought that I was like, this game has really put that in my brain. And I kind of wish Expedition 33 was a Final Fantasy game, because then I would feel like Final Fantasy is still interesting.
Oh, I mean that
I know I'm going to upset people with that. I know people like 15 and 16, but like
everyone,
this game makes me feel how classic Final Fantasy made me feel.
And that's what they're trying to do, and everyone feels that. Everyone's feeling that, because like it's clear, because like I'm somebody who's like, oh, it just became a character action series with FF16. I didn't expect that, but I'm having fun. That's cool, right? But this is showing that like you can do a traditional style RPG and still keep what makes those games so great, and the core of that gameplay is present. It feels absolutely like a love letter to some classic FFs as well. That is, I think that's a very intentional thing about the way it's done. By the way, and just in terms of firing on all cylinders, like you're walking around this gorgeous world, you're looking at these gorgeous pieces, and the music is so phenomenally good. And I don't know if you heard about where the composer came from, but
nope.
It's a random person on SoundCloud that the director found on Reddit and just went, yo, you're really good. Do you want to work on a project? And they went, okay. And they made 150 pieces of music for this game. And like every song, every time you beat a thing, and the next, you have the victory layer that kicks in, the instrumentals, the vocals. It's such amazing music. First time debut SoundCloud producer, that just like crushing it.
Yeah. Welcome to legend. Like
in
congrats.
one shot, and I feel like my favorite, when you talk about Final Fantasy, like there's moments where I was playing Remake, and there's one in particular where I was fighting one of the bosses in Shinra, and like I synced up and had Tifa and Cloud in the middle of an air combo, and like I was picking the next action, the air, and like everything slowed down right as the music hit a crescendo on the best version of Let the Battles Begin. Operation Rescue Aerith was kicking, and like the characters are all mid swing, and I'm like, oh, this game is awesome. I loved it, right? And every time you get a big climactic finish in Clair Obscur, that's what you feel. And then the final instrumentation version comes out, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit on this victory screen for a minute and just enjoy this version of the song before we continue, as it says.
Yeah. This isn't going to be the last time we talk about this game.
No.
But I think that's, if it is not obvious, I think this is both me and Woolie kind of being like, you got to play this game. This is a good ass game.
Yep.
And it's cool because like we're kind of at the halfway point of the year, and like there is some really interesting games out. I'm playing Promise Mascot Agency. I played a fair bit of Blueprints. Feel kind of mixed on it, but it is cool.
I just wanted to give a shout outs to Cloudy McDoom and KF Tragic. Both had different skits, but it's the same kind of idea where you're just like, anyone who's playing Expedition 33 right now knows this. And it's just like, you're getting ready. You're like, okay, I got to parry this, right? All right, I'm about to die, but I got this. And then and a big enemy in a bunny suit walks up and is like, oh, and you're just like, God damn it! Why I can't parry it, and you're like, Bah!
And there's something especially pathetic about the fact that the game actually has you do the failed animation. And it doesn't mean you fail the attack. But like if you dodge way too early, your character will dodge out of the way and then dodge back in place, and then the attack happens.
God.
And you could still dodge, but you look real stupid.
And just your corpse getting danced on as you hear Clair, Obscur.
So no, it's exactly what I want from games. It's like a fucking banger just out of nowhere. Like, oh, this shit rules. You know, this shit is so cool.
We're going to get into it in the future for sure.
And it's good because, like, there has been, like, I would say particularly for me and you, Woolie, there has been, like, I guess, like, a bit of kind of, I guess, you know, I know we don't usually talk about this stuff, but, like, online drama that we kind of need to address a little bit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
What are you talking about?
So I guess in regards your recent photo up Murder Rock Mountain and how that relates to the Mountain Boys. Okay, Woolie, look, sorry, just let me stop there. I just want to say, I actually flew over to Boston, which is the halfway point between me and Dan, and we got together and we had a meeting about this.
Oh,
because,
Jesus! What is Dan up to?
Look, buddy, I'm sorry. I'm not.
I
am not trying to. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here, but like we have to kind of talk about this.
Oh my God! Oh God! Oh, what is?
I know you didn't want to address this, but like we have to. Like it's the only way through this. So I'm gonna send you over a file here, Woolie. If you could just read the name of the file, it'll be over in 2 seconds.
I don't see a file. I just see a video.
It's called Mountain Boys Address the Allegation.
Mountain Boys Address the Allegation. Shall I click play?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm clicking play.
Hey all, Mountain John here, and I got some I got some dang old terrible news about Mountain Woolie. It turns out on top of the allegations, his trip up Murder Rock Mountain was a dang old digitally manipulated Photoshop image, and I'm just gonna toss it over to Mountain Dan here and say,
we would like to thank you all for respecting our privacy in this troubling time.
Suffice to say, Mountain Woolie is out of the crew. It's just Mountain Dan and Mountain John now, and it's oh, those dang old dark clouds looking real dark right now, Dan.
Wow!
Signing off.
So look, that's it. Like,
no.
Suffice to say, you are out of the mess.
Mountain Woolie here, and I deny all these allegations. I will not. I deserve a fair trial, first of all. I don't even know how to use Photoshop. What's a Photoshop? I ain't never used no...
Okay, Man Woolie, I understand.
How dare you?
Motions are booking like a bronco here. Emotions are booking like a bronco.
How about you call me up like a man?
Sir, I need to ask you a question. Sir, I need to ask you one question. Is this or is this not a digitally manipulated photo image?
You're digitally manipulated. You're AI. You're GPT. I don't know nothing about nothing.
So this is a photo. This is an actual photo of you climbing Murder Rock Mountain.
This is upsetting. I'm gonna step on my goddamn hat. I am so mad. Dan,
Woolie,
how dare you?
I'm gonna need you to send the hat back.
How dare you?
Dan lost his. We only have one now. I really need that hat.
Folding ideas, more like you're about to get folded.
Oh,
son of a bitch.
So, Woolie, I went to Boston.
I see that.
Yeah, I went to Boston on what is genuinely one of the strangest trips of my entire fucking life.
Have you been to Boston before?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice place. I ate my own body weight in lobster rolls.
There you go.
Delicious.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you go to the harbor?
Yeah, Yes, and it was cool. I liked it.
Okay, then you did it.
Yeah. But so basically, I was heading over as part of with Giant Bombs, part of the Jeff's Bizarre Adventure crew, and I don't know if you noticed, but Giant Bomb got itself in a bit of a dang old pickle there.
little tizzy, a little run-in, a little stir-up, little dust-up happened over there. Yeah. What's going on?
Well, so basically, the story goes that maybe some things were said about Emma Frost's thighs on a stream, and it might have caused some ruffled feathers in Giant Bomb's parent corporation. Just gonna say, I'm not actually gonna shit talk Giant Bomb's previous parent corporation. For two simple reasons. One, it doesn't help anyone in Giant Bomb, and two, I still know people who work in that organization, and I'm not interested in dragging them through, just causing any kind of trouble for them. But if you want to, Wooly, that's fine.
I think company destroying thighs is actually a plus to add to the list of attributes about them.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so it basically, I get a message. It's a week and a half out from PAX, and I get a message being like, hey, the website's kind of imploding, and I don't know if this PAX trip is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. It's the following Monday, and I don't know if I'm getting on a plane Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's still a website. I don't know what the fuck is happening. And so then I have a massive video, or like a 30-minute video over on regular Eyepatch Wolf. People want like the blow-by-blow of all this. But basically what happened is that those crazy lunatics over at Giant Bomb somehow managed to buy back GiantBomb.com from their parent company, meaning that GiantBomb.com is once again an independently owned web gaming website in an era. So look, here's the thing. No one has been able to figure out the corporate website thing.
What an
corporate
insane
video
journey.
Fucking mental. For some reason, a guy called Jeff getting fired from a company has resulted in an independent Giant Bomb.
Look at that. Oh man. Yeah. I guess that's the key ingredient, There must always be a Jeff, and there must always be a firing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that if people like our stuff, Giant Bomb has the Giant Bomb cast and a bunch of other shit. If you want to support genuine independent games journalism, it is one of the last bastions now. It is one of the last places you can do it. Right now we're kind of still figuring things out in terms of Jeffs and where that's going to kind of land and everything. But regardless, it's it is so rare you see the good guys win in this space.
Look, I'd say that of all the potential outcomes while this story was unfolding, and I was I have no idea what's happening over there, but it looks pretty rough, especially since they're not the other sites are getting sold and bought and destroyed as well. The entire games journalism space is not doing great. Of all the outcomes, this is the best potential one, which is they're self-owned and can do what they want and don't have any of that garbage anymore. And it's I did not expect best potential outcome in the year of our Lord 2025. I feel I was preparing for anything dog shit.
This is Devil May Cry triple S success. This was so unlikely. I still don't even really understand how it happened, but I'm so happy for them. And I hung out with all of them at PAX, and Jeff Bakalar he's just a very good friend of mine at this point. He's just a lovely and sweet man, and just a very genuine dude. But Jan Ochoa, Jeff Grubb, Dan, Mike Minotti, I've never met Mike, but he seems cool. But in terms of the other three, I hung out with them all at PAX, and just genuinely very sweet, lovely men who are trying to do their best for the games industry, and it is such a gigantic win that they are in this position. Like, it's such a gigantic win that like this happened and it actually worked.
Yeah. No, it feels. I just had a thought that just slipped right out of my brain. There it goes. I'll try to get it back. But yeah, no, that's great. That's super encouraging and good to know.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, that's what it was. I got it back. Sorry. From the outside, from just watching and seeing things unfold, there was one of those feelings I had where I was just like, well, I think that like when you have a bunch of people that have really good chemistry and get along together, the idea that those people can kind of like go anywhere and do whatever they want because people are like interested in that chemistry is, I think, a pretty powerful one. And I felt from the outside, I was like, whatever these people end up doing, they can move as however they want to move. They can do whatever they want to do. Thankfully, they don't have to do anything like that. Here we are. But people know and like when there's good chemistry, and that matters. That
absolutely
that makes a difference at the end of the day.
And like, without getting too into shit, because like, a lot of this stuff is like, it's just not my story to tell. Like, people were upset when it looked like Giant Bomb was going down, and I can speak quite confidently that upset contributed massively to the current result. So like, everyone who gave a shit about Giant Bomb, everyone who cared enough to like, get out there and get vocal, it fucking mattered so much. And like, it's, that is what has allowed, that's what Giant Bomb, like how Giant Bomb has resurrected. And like, it's so much as well, because like, I don't know, have you ever been on the Giant Bomb wiki?
I have a couple times. Yeah.
So the Giant Bomb wiki is like the fucking craziest wiki I've ever seen. It's this video game encyclopedia, but like, you can search tomato and it will list every video game with a tomato in it.
In fact, yeah, I think someone. Yeah, I think I got set. Yeah, I there's a Woolie page on it.
Yep.
Yeah, there I am. Right.
That's so cool. But yeah, but then like, with kind of shifting landscapes, there also comes like opportunity for other things. And that is why me and Woolie are proud to announce that we have sold to fandom and that we foresee nothing but bright horizons ahead.
We have we? Oh.
We have. I didn't tell you about this, Woolie. This is a surprise.
Wow, look at my digital signature right there. Who'd have thunk
there it is. I've gotten real good at it.
And signed by Mountain Woolie, it says.
It's a Mountain Woolie, yeah. I was still in the... Anyway, but few little changes, but nothing major, okay? We don't like muscle girls anymore.
We don't!
No. We like... potential spouses is what it's called.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure that I'm not in violation. I think there's a couple of bikins over there I got to get rid of. Or
why do you think I'm in an empty room?
I see. Okay. Right. We're starting here. That's the issue.
Yeah. We don't like fighting games anymore. We enjoy browsing fandom wikis.
Okay.
That's what we're passionate about now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, fighting games are having a rough go, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, boy.
Oh, but yeah, look, just congrats to the... sorry, you go for it.
No, I just love when I open up a wiki and it automatically starts streaming to a Twitch page that I'm not watching, and then at the end of the year when it says your most watched thing, it's because you had like a window open and it was just permanently switching off and on this random stream that you never actually chose to watch.
I love when you open up a random wiki on your phone and your phone just gets so fucking hot in your hands.
Ow!
Yeah, it's like the website is giving you a warm hug. Congrats to the guys over at Giant Bomb. Just what a miraculous outcome for an unbelievably deserved group of people. And, in what has been a very dark year for like just games media and games in general, an objective win for the good guys, and just fuck yeah. And also, just want to tack on to that. Appreciate the fuck out of everyone who supports this podcast. There are so many times in the last week or the last couple of weeks where I've thought to myself, like, thank God that, like, me and Woolie do not have to deal. Do you, like, Woolie, can you imagine us dealing with corporate
I
overlords?
would not be here. My entire do you know me? Like, it's done. It's cooked. It's over. My naming convention for the content that I put out into the world, just go look at the list of shit that I've named of like episodes of shows and LPs and there is nothing. There is no way. There is not a chance.
Woolie, can you imagine the levels of HR we broke with that level 3 combo breaker?
Oh.
But yeah, yes. Thank you to everyone
Permanent
who like
body
supports this
damage
podcast.
scarring should not be anyway.
But John, did you get the tattoo or didn't you? It's on point.
Whatever.
I refuse
this bit is so it's so tiring. It's so exhausting. I'm not even gonna we're gonna roll right past it the way you roll right past.
But yeah, thanks.
Bit.
I just genuinely did want to say I really appreciate everyone who supports like me and Woolie shit, either this podcast or independently. Like,
thank you.
We are way too fucked up to ever exist in any kind of ecosystem where we could be fired.
There's something cool about like slaying the dragon and winning and coming home, with your shield full and full of experience, and you get back to the Shire, but we couldn't even last a day outside like in that.
Did I ever tell you?
It's cooked the moment we tried.
I remember when I had been dating Michelle about 6 months, and she kind of said to me, we're talking about like, future, like this is two, 18-year-olds, and we're kind of talking about future career plans and stuff like that. And out of nowhere, she kind of says to me, you'll probably start your own business. And I was like, I'd never thought about it before. And I was like, really? Like, why'd you think that? And she just goes, yeah, you'll never be able to work for someone else.
Okay.
And that was like the first time I was kind of like, I think this girl knows me like quite well.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But yeah. Woolie, I saw Sinners.
That being said, I was going to say, that being said, shout outs to PlayStation, who you are currently broadcasting from the inside of a PlayStation.
I am inside a PlayStation 2 right now. That is true.
Anyway.
You know when Gojo gets sealed? That's where I am right now.
Perfect. All right. Sinners. Last time we released the episode, there were a lot of people that were like, motherfuckers didn't watch Sinners. God damn it. I was waiting for that discussion to happen. And I was like, okay, so there's something going on here that must have some relevance.
I got multiple messages, quite furious messages from a lot of my black audience being like literally saying, your black audience demands you watch this. And I was like, okay.
Get your black ass to the theater right now. Listen, I think I got a lot of friends and a lot of people as well kind of being like, yo, you got to go check this movie out. I'm like, yo, Ryan Coogler, let's go, right? All about it. That was a very fun movie. And
excellent. I thought it was so good. I was like, any film that can go over 2 hours and make it feel like 60 minutes is okay in my book.
So, but I guess,
oh man,
I guess, I don't know if we're gonna go full spoilers or not, but I will say that I didn't know what it was going in at all. I just knew I saw a trailer in front of, I think it was like Alien Romulus or something. I saw a trailer and it's like, I saw Michael B. Jordan, and I saw fire, and I saw like some action happening, and I was like, oh, that looks cool, and it looks like a period piece, set in the early 1900s in America, and let's see what's up. But like, I didn't know what it was, and then upon watching it, I'm like, oh, it's Black from Dusk Till Dawn is what it is.
Yes, that is what it is.
And it is a phenomenal ride. So one, I gotta say up top, so Ryan Coogler, obviously, like, what an incredible director. But when you pull off stuff like Black Panther and Creed is obviously huge, the type of deal that you can get, right? The deal he got for this movie, I don't know if you saw, but it was
he owns the rights, doesn't he?
After 25 years, he gets the rights back, which never happens in Hollywood, right? But it seems like people going to theaters now is an option that you have to convince them to go do. It's not the same as it used to be pre-COVID. And already then, streamers were getting more popular. Now, to get box office numbers up, you need a person that people believe in and like that they like what they do. So like the idea of him being able to be like, yeah, okay, this is your retirement. You know what I mean? This is your future set. Being able to be like, yeah, me and Michael work together. Like it's one of those, like, there's always a director and actor pair that kind of like work together a lot. That's the one for them. And the fact that you get the movie rights back yourself is awesome. That's a really huge deal. The actor that played Sammy, debut, first movie ever. So I love the fact that also spotlighting new talent, that's huge and a big deal. And he did such a great job. And that deep voice is so specific and unique, I just, a lot of that played out in a real awesome way.
What an unbelievably attractive cast.
Yeah, lots of
just across the board.
Lots of attractive people giving lots of oral.
Yes. And look, I just want to say
copious amounts of oral.
One of those cast members is a big-bodied lady. She looked fucking incredible. She was so cool. She was so hot. And that was her place in the movie, and that's just who she fucking was. And it was so cool to see. And damn, fuck, that was cool.
My favorite scene, the best scene in the movie to me, just Delta Slim in the car talking about that memory he has of watching a friend get lynched and seeing that turn into song. When the emotion swells up and he can't handle it anymore and he starts singing and you're like, that's the blues. That's it right there in the spirit, in the flesh. It's so good. And that was actually an improvised moment too.
Whoa.
It was incredible. And then Michael was like, oh, yo, you got your guitar, boy. Why don't you play it, And like none of that wasn't a scripted moment, And I was like, oh, that hits. That hits in terms of like setting up the time and the place and the mood and the whole thing about like we want to have our own place, And that's why I think it works so well when you have little old Remick strolling on to the movie, like tumbles onto the frame and walks in as the villain, as your big old Irish vampire.
Now,
and
we do need to address some things about the Irish vampire.
Oh, the idea that I think part of the reason why he's so crucial and like he brings the music is such a big part of the identity, and he brings his own sound and his own flavor and his history with him on that. And like because of the idea of like, oh, your people have been through some shit and my people have been through some shit, and I understand that. I understand what you're looking at, and I'm appealing to that part, right? He actually appeals to that part of the Irish black connection, and they use that as.
The thing was for me, that part was like I was just like, yeah.
Right?
Like, let's do it. Like, let's all be vampires.
Let's go.
Yeah, I see no
on
problem
the rocky
here.
Road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's like it's like, oh, because you see it like, I mean, you see it like constantly all the way up to today, how like when it comes to people being oppressed, Ireland is like right there, like, yeah, we got your back. right?
Oh,
right
every time.
Every single time. Did we talked about Kneecap the other day? Kneecap's getting a little bit more famous right now, aren't they? Right? They're getting way more famous right
insane.
now.
Sure, it's crazy how the British media is talking a lot about Kneecap, but not a whole lot about the fucking starving people.
That's a name that, like, you're like, yo, Irish rap, that exists, that's cool, and now everyone knows that name because shit's popping off, right?
Yeah,
but that's the kind of thing where I'm like, oh yeah, there's something clear here where, like, there's an understanding when you see this kind of, like, oppression, you see the struggle, you see this treatment, and, like, Remick the vampire off the dusty road gets it and is like, yeah, that's why we can do this, guys. Come on. And we'll all go together.
And
they're holding hands. They're walking towards the house and you're like, ah!
There's a subgenre of TikTok that is, like, kind of I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically like black people talking about how Irish people are cool, or like how the Irish culture is like, no, they're all right, leave them, it's cool. And it's interesting because, like, it is a weird one because, like, obviously, like, oppression, every kind of oppression comes in different forms, and, like, with Ireland, it's like, you know, you pass, like you're white, like, you're not gonna raise any eyes if you walk into a bar. A little more so when you start talking, depending on, like, a couple of different things. But I think, like, the thing that really, and I've kind of talked about this before, and I've talked about it on our on Intermission Lounge and stuff, but, like, the big thing is, like, it's the generational trauma that you can still fucking, like, feel on the streets of Dublin every single day. And it meant a lot to me to see a character in this big mainstream movie address that. Now, I did have some issues with it, and a huge one was just, I wish he just talked like an Irish person. I wish he had an accent, because no one fucking talks like us in movies. And he was from, like, the old country. Like, that was his thing. And it was a bit of a bummer to hear him talk with a southern accent. And then, you know, it's also kind of like...
Is it because he turned it on for the music and then kind of off for the dialogue kind of thing?
Yeah, I just would have liked if he talked like that. I understand an Irish accent is a difficult thing for American to get down, but, like, it can be done. Like, I've seen it. And it just... I think it would have been this whole message about, like, this person, this, like, minority is coming to these black dudes with this solution. And it's the wrong solution, but it's the wrong solution to a fucked up problem. And I think that just hits a little harder the more Irish he is. And it was just a bummer to hear him have an American accent, you know?
I mean, I'll say as a, you know, as a Westerner over here, like, the fact that every time he opened his mouth, I heard a fiddle in the distance.
Sure.
It worked in just, you know, in the levels of just like, yo, you've been oppressed, I've been oppressed, that sucks, let's become vampires.
Yep. And, like,
and
that is the most hype I have ever been to see Irish dancing. But I guess, like,
man,
you know, in terms of, like, what it kind of says about Irish people, it is tricky because it's like, it does put forward this idea that, like, there is this, like, strange, insidious force throughout Ireland and its people. And, like, the thing is, like, are there a couple of Irish vampires? Of course! Are we going to talk about it publicly? That's not really anyone's... How many? Doesn't matter. Why are you asking? You know, that's not
our
mainstream
business.
Shit. Okay? I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to say there's certain secrets within the culture that we don't talk to outsiders about. Okay, that's it. That's my only thing.
Now, I have to ask, there's some stuff I'm curious about. For example, immortality, John. Is that notions?
Having immortality, no. Wanting immortality, yes.
Yes, okay.
What the fuck have you done to live that long? What the fuck are you gonna do with that life? Oh, you gonna learn to fucking roller skate, you fucking yank? Like, what? 60's too much for you. 60's too much. And you want to live forever.
Oh fuck.
Did I ever tell you about that sketch? It's from your man Garen on TikTok, and he's talking about the concept of how Irish people will kind of, the first thing they say is always really nice, and then the second thing immediately follows the hard truth, and it goes like this. Basically, I saw Darren down the pub the other day. Class lad, Darren, great crack altogether. And then the other person responds like, yeah, no, I love Darren, great lad. And then the first lad responds, still though, he's a bit of a cunt all the same though, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay.
I have had that, and like, so just to say for people as well, the C word, it doesn't quite carry the same venom in Ireland as it does in other parts of the world.
Course.
It's not a misogynistic thing. I don't personally use it except in that anecdote, but yeah.
In the Irish/European context, you're more than all right there.
Yeah. But
oh god.
Woolie, I cannot tell you how many times I have had a conversation like that. He's a fucking asshole, alright. You know, like we're gonna establish first that he's that he's fine, and then we're gonna immediately deconstruct that and be like, no, he's not. But yeah,
man. I had so much fun every time he was on screen, just yucking it up, and you know, and then of course just following through with the proper fucking vampire movie, you know, like that. And like
the fact that he had to go not only at like the monarchy but the church as well, like that hit hard for me because like the monarchy completely fucked us up, like destroyed our, like erased our culture, fucking destroyed everything, and then the church was like, oh, don't worry. Come here. We got you. It's like that was its own nightmare, you know?
Oh yeah. No, notice notice throughout history that the most devout Catholics and Christians are the most oppressed, that need something to believe in the hardest, you know? Like over time. There's a link there historically. It's always a thing. I feel like the part 2 where, you know, you're going through this and I'm like, and here's that kind of like that little touch towards the end, of course, and stuff, where you're kind of like, and you never really had that freedom because there was always going to be a round of trucks coming back over this way, you know? You never really did do it. You thought you did, but outside of that, the system was still what it was, you know? And here's where we can have some Tarantino fun with the situation. You know, it was super fun to like watch them, like really enjoy the musical element too. You know, the obviously like the whole idea of the spirit of music coming alive, and like the scene. You know,
oh, that scene was incredible. Yep,
right. You're like, yeah, I see. I feel like that scene came to like the writer in a dream and went like, okay, that's what we're making here. That's what this movie is. Let's make a whole thing around that, you know? And you can definitely look at it and be like, oh, there's a real dedication, especially for like a brand new IP, not connected to anything, just that's like all about being like real to the history and authentic, and bringing up, you know, so much of that setting and the beginning of the movie and establishing everything about it before anything supernatural really happens. Like they kind of tell you, hey, supernatural stuff happens, but like let's just like establish this world and who the players are, and you're super invested, you know. And it's so funny because I remember then hearing that like apparently there was a Marvel Blade movie that was supposed to be taking place in the 1920s that didn't happen.
Oh, and that would have been fun.
Yeah, but now you're like, oh well, your lunch is gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, goodbye.
And right, and furthermore, what would, even as cool as that is as an idea, I don't know that MCU Blade necessarily would have like it possible, because I mean Ryan Coogler did it with Black Panther, but I don't know that it would have been as like, yo, we're gonna hit you in the gut with the reality of like, you know, how shit it was back then for Black people. And talking about the Irish and getting into like the real grit of it, while we're also got vampires.
Yeah,
start
because
popping off,
at some point Blade has to turn around and be like, "Thanks, Spider-Man."
Yeah, well, that's it, and then like, thank you, Spider-Man, and then see the KKK pulling up. Like, I don't think that's where they're going necessarily.
That's all right, Blade. I have always sympathized with the oppression of the black people. Oh wait,
wait, is that Miles or Peter? Who's that? Yeah.
I don't know. I never know.
Oh man. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and
very, very, very relevant to the dynamic of this podcast.
Sure. That's it. In the end, we have our struggles, and you propose that I just, take the bite and just join. We'll all go together, says John.
I just don't want you to worry about a single thing, Woolie. Just not a single thing. We're in this together. We're in the forgiveness era. Everything is okay.
The idea that, like, right outside the Gone in 60 Seconds finale room, that there was a baptismal pool with people ready is not that much of a stretch now, is it?
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. I have seen multiple people describe me as vampire-coded in discussing sinners on this podcast, and hey, that ain't no one's business.
Okay. I mean, I believe Remix actor, shit, I had the name, but I forgot it. It's Jack O'Connell. Was like, I think he mentioned that he's like, oh yeah, I used to dance jigs, back in the day, and I kind of he learned, and he's like, it's been a while since I've done it, but let's see what we can do, and then just like brought it out, and they were like, perfect, let's go,
Absolutely.
And yeah. All
right. Okay, guys, we've got a Patreon, and every month we take a Patreon question and we answer it on air. But we also have a Intermission Lounge podcast, which we also release once a month. And sometimes we just take viewer questions and answer a ton of weird and cool stuff. And the last one, you can hear me and Woolie say genuinely nice things about each other. But yeah, you can get it on over at patreon.com/Versus Wolves podcast. And this month's question comes from Mike Rambo. Dearest Versus Wolves, what's a recommendation you gave someone that fell so flat on its face you're still cringing over how it went?
Do you have one?
Yes. So I wanted to get a friend into Berserk before because I was quite confident that she would be into it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to come over and we'll grab a few drinks and we'll watch the first 2 Berserk movies. And she's like, okay, cool. And we watched them. She's really into them. She's having a really good time. And at that point, it's like kind of midnight. And I'm like, okay, it's getting kind of late. And she kind of turns around to me and she goes, so there's a third one? And I was like, yes. And then she's like, can we watch it? And I was like, and I'm kind of running the mental math, and I'm like, I know this isn't a good idea. I know. But when you're having a good time with someone and you're both enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Uh-huh.
And we watch it, and like by about 3 a.m, we're both a little drunk, we're a little tired, and she just keeps going, that was so fucked up. And I really... my skin kind of crawls thinking of it now. Now, she went on to be a massive Berserk fan, but I really left that apartment feeling like, oh, I fucked up. I miscalculated this dramatically.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm glad that to hear in the end it worked out, but yeah, okay. I get what you mean. It's difficult because, like, I guess, so 2 things. One, that reminds me of how one of the first times I remember in college that a friend of mine, like, she watched the original show, and that was one of those times where, like, the end result of that, because of how it ended, it was kind of like that. The way that it ended was enough to kind of ruin the whole experience, and I was like, okay, I need to, like, make sure that if I'm recommending things to people that especially something like that, you got to let them know what's going on. You got to let them know what's going on. That wasn't off my recommendation, but it was just like, I remember talking to her about it afterwards, and like, there's times where like, I remember it was like, okay, it's difficult when sometimes, there's bad things happening doesn't mean that the media itself is bad if it makes you feel that way for a purpose in a way. And there's a larger discussion around that. But like, I know that I'm like, oh, Berserk is something that I'm going to need to recommend to people with lots of asterisks if and when I do, when it comes to a recommendation that falls so flat on its face that I'm still cringing over it. This is tricky because this is basically my whole life is like, I'm overly concerned with not doing that to people because I've had it done to me and I've watched it happen to others in so many ways, right? So back in my college days when I was president of the anime club in college, you know what I mean? Like
I didn't know you were president.
For a bit, right? And I met a lot of people and I made a lot of friends. And I got to see the way that people's recommendation thing would happen. And like down to this even show and Hunter x Hunter and the whole Gone in 60 Seconds bit. The idea of recommending things to people, like I have so many strong feelings about that, which is why we even go into that with Hunter and stuff, is because watching how people they're only thinking about how much they like something and they don't consider the person they're recommending.
So there is totally such a thing as like the selfish recommend.
There is, and I've seen it happen so many times that like, I'm like, oh, I would hate to do that to somebody, right? I'm very like, when talking about it, trying to feel out what they're into and stuff or so, I always want to be like, I got to take into account who you are. I remember there was a friend who like, was talking about how, she tried playing a couple games, like, and she just never really got into like video games as a whole. And I was like, I'm like, there's a lot of examples out there. And we kind of just talked and, I was like, there's different things. And as the conversation kind of went on a little bit, she's like, yeah, and some people have like brought over stuff or tried to show me things and that, this and that. And it sounded like a lot of people did exactly this. They kind of went, no, I got to show you FF7. I got to show you my favorite game. No, you got to see that. And they just kind of like, they're like, I love it. Therefore you, and she just kind of didn't. And I kind of, hit a point.
FF7 is like my favorite game of all time. Bringing that over to someone who doesn't know about video games and expecting them to love it is crazy.
Yeah, it's and it's so I'm like the lack of self-awareness. I pre-cringe for that idea, and I kind of went like, or we can just respect the fact that this is not your thing and leave it at that and move on, and we could just enjoy other things, and like that was it. And I'm like, all right, we don't have to force this as an issue, and I talk about, God bless, I mean, Min, the editor over on Woolie Versus, one of the classic moments was him bringing over Haruhi, and he played the Zero, the prequel series of like this characters acting out poorly on like a VHS tape, their skits that's like a preview for the whole show. And it doesn't matter because in the end I hated the show anyway, but that as an intro and being like, no, hold on, give it a chance, and like being like, I'm here, we're doing it, and it completely fell apart. Like I didn't enjoy a second of it, but he's like, okay, well, let's give it a little bit more, and stuff. And we've told the story many times in the past and stuff, and I don't need to expose and throw anyone under the bus anymore. But all this to say that, like, having been on the receiving end of that with some folks as well, I'm so overly paranoid and careful about not doing this to people. So it's hard for me to get that answer directly,
So one thing I've kind of realized is that when someone takes a recommendation from you, it doesn't matter if it's your number one game of all time or just something you think is kind of cool. If they enjoy it, it feels equally good either way. It's like, oh shit, I thought you'd like that, And I would say like I have a pretty good hit rate, especially if I know someone being like, I think you would be into this. And I'm also a big fan of someone being like, hey, listen, watch the first 4 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. I didn't like it. To me, I can absolutely turn around and just be like, oh, wow, that is more than enough to know if that show is for you or not. That just doesn't seem like it's for you. Like, now how someone watches Ballad of the Fallen Angels and doesn't fall in love with that show, I have no idea. But I don't care. It's like if you take that episode with its full force and it's not for you, there is nothing I can say to turn you around on it.
But I do think that like sometimes the desire for connection with people, where you want to connect on the same things that you're passionate about, kind of blindly creates a recommendation aura where you don't even look at who it's going to. You're just shooting a bullet at them, you know?
Totally.
And I mean, Kamen Rider, as we'll get to, is one of those things where I've seen and know folks that have been very like, I don't know whether like I'm not taking you into account. I'm just gonna shove this at you and go like, no, you got, and I take this opportunity to just be like, please think of the person you're coming at, consider their tastes and where they're at with it, and like whether you think it's a good fit for them in that way, as opposed to just kind of like hoping for a reality where you convert this person to, like, and their eyes glow and then they're like, I see the light now. I too am a fan.
In total honesty, it's like I have also been the you don't get it person.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I've also been the person like, I have introduced people to like JoJo's and been like, I think you'll really like this thing. And then they start shipping every character in JoJo, and I'm like, well, this isn't quite how I like,
Yeah,
but like it's all valid. It's all valid,
I've been there. Yeah, totally.
Especially not having a lot of knowledge of shipping, and then seeing someone go ham on that stuff and be like, oh,
yeah.
Well, the internet sure is a large place.
Oh, yeah. No, got some good friends of mine into King of Fighters and watched as they created the biggest RP universe for the Ash Crimson Saga you've ever seen.
What?
And I was like, not what I was expecting, but that's cool.
Oh, I can't imagine. Okay, even disconnected from the RPing, which is just... We got to talk about that someday. To get someone into King of Fighters and have them be like, yeah, Ash Crimson. It's I mean, I get it. I understand who that character is for, totally, and I don't mind it at all. I get it, but wow.
Yeah, well, you got your slash pairings going on, and you got your Kyo and Iori staring at each other, and then this little French boy comes in between and starts stealing your powers. Right? So, you can just extrapolate from there.
I mean, I see I notice in a lot of ships, it's the Yu-Gi-Oh triangle. It's like Pharaoh Yugi, Little Yugi, and Kaiba, and people just kind of like to mix and mat and all sorts. I could kind of see that with Ash, Iori, and Kyo.
Those words mean nothing to me, but I'm going to nod and yes and.
No, I'm not going to plunge you into this precipice, not today.
We're currently talking about not shoving people into the precipice. That's the topic of the conversation.
Speaking of precipices, real quick, actually, we always talk too much on this podcast. I can't help it. But Capcom Fighting Game Collection 2 came out.
Oh, yes. Yes, it did.
I don't know. Woolie, what's your feeling on Capcom versus SNK 2? I don't think I've ever seen you talk about it too much.
Oh, I love CVS 2. That's one of the classics, and it's one of those games. Where
would you rank it in like the pantheon of fighting games for you?
Oh, it's high up there for sure. But it's one of those games that like competitively, like there's a bug that people found roll canceling that kind of like some argue that it ruined the game, some argue that it saved it from dying off, or so. But I just overall that competitive side of it aside, I just love the fact that it's such a cool roster and the ratio system, and there's so many ways to play.
I think
and pick a favorite,
contender for best vibes in fighting games. Contender.
Yeah. My only downside on it is that I wish it had the presentation of Capcom versus SNK 1 with the TV screens and the robot and the arrows.
I do love that shit, but I don't know. There's a kind of festival feeling to 2 that I love so much.
There is.
But yeah, I've been playing going back Capcom versus SNK 2. I think Street Fighter 3 I think is a better game, like without question. I really struggle to say I like 3 better, even though I might. But fuck, I just love CVS 2 so much, and I've just been playing it online. And just seeing all the like character animations and interactions, it's such a beautiful fucking game. And
yeah,
I'm just very happy it's back. I'm very happy it's playable.
That's it.
I've been rolling with a 4-stock Yamazaki and just creating all kinds of problems for people. And
That's
it's
awesome.
So much fun.
All in on one character is badass. I respect it. I love playing like that. No, it's great to see these classic games have a chance to, you know, find a new audience and be preserved for the moment. I wish that they didn't make it so that the ranked online mode is like a newer version from what everyone's used to competing with. It's the EO version, but you know, details aside.
Yeah, I have a few little quibbles like that as well. Like, it's not the PS2 version, and it doesn't have some of the single player. Like, you can't create your own groove, and
okay,
that kind of bums me out. Or at least I don't think you can.
Yeah, because it's the arcade things, except for that one EO that they released. But what's also nice on the collection is you've got your Project Justice, the Rival Schools game,
an actual accessible Project Justice.
Yeah,
so fucking sick.
It was.
I have not deep dived on that yet, but I'm about to.
Love Rival Schools. I want that franchise back so badly.
S tier character designs.
Yeah, no. For years I've been saying, please give us Justice University. You know, the final in the trilogy. I want, and then of course, like even like Star Gladiator is just this side
sure,
you know, series that you can grab as well. It's a nice collection. Yeah,
the Power Stone as well.
Power Stone's great.
It's kind of
one in particular.
There's I love 1, 2. Yeah, like I don't like the 4-way shit, but what a great collection. Okay. Woolie, we got some t-shirts over at the versus Wolves Emporium.com. Get them now.
Yes. The as we just talked about fighting games, if you want to get into fighting game shirt, we got the one with the heart. It's up there for you. We got
not selling a lot of that one. Pretty embarrassing for Woolie, I think.
This may be an untruth. Versus Wolves Emporium, guys, thank you so much, and shout outs to sometimes people send me like a shot of them like wearing the shirts and stuff, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I gotta retweet that. Like, that's great. That's, you know, super sick, fun stuff. Can I tell you
something about that? And people also tweet that stuff at me, but tweeting someone wearing your own shirt, it is kind of notions.
Oh my god!
No, not for you, but for me, and I still do it. No, Woolie, you can't have notions. You never stood a chance, Woolie. That's like asking a dog to do algebra. You know, like for a no foreigner could ever understand notions.
Well, there's only one way I could possibly understand now, isn't there? And we'll all go together.
Can we jig again, Woolie?
On the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hooty tooty too. Hotty totty ta.
You're allowed to do that in that one circumstance and that circumstance alone.
Only when you're doing it.
Yep. Only when I'm making these movements.
Yeah. Okay, now we're good to go. And stop.
Okay. Why don't we get on?
Let's take a quick word. So this episode of Versus Wolves is brought to you by Rocket Money. And we have talked about Rocket Money in the past, but as we enter this brave new future of signing up for many applications and having your credit card or accounts on PayPal get auto-charged and auto-deducted, it's easy to lose track of all the things you sign up for. I have very, very frequently lost track of what my subscriptions are, and have seen things where I don't recognize what the name is. And I feel as if this is a new problem that I did not anticipate coming into the future. And so Rocket Money is basically about helping you find any subscriptions that you have, anything that you're not aware of that you might have forgotten about. If there's any price changes that occurred as well, you know, in that list of things that you're just kind of like auto paying and is in the back of your mind or so, it helps you keep track of all of that and put it together. And it helps you cancel any unwanted subscriptions. And I think that's what we need in, you know, a situation like this where that list grows over time. It adds up.
Totally. I think like one of the things I am so shocked, especially when I started learning about it, that they don't teach in schools, is like any kind of financial literacy, any kind of just skill in managing your money and keeping track of your money. And it is something like Rocket Money is so fucking cool because it lets you do that. Like, it is a shortcut to doing all that stuff. And like, shit's a bit weird financially for a lot of people, you know, depending on what part of the world you live in. Shit's getting more expensive or whatever. And it's like, if you want to take the sting out of that, there is no substitute from actually understanding your money, where it's going, and like having that top down view of everything. And an app like Rocket Money is kind of indispensable in that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a part of me that's like, I'm like, okay, I know I'm being kind of lazy. I should be a bit more on top of some of this. But then there's the stuff where I go to unsign up from a particular app that like sends me an email that has a time limited window to go back to a website, and I was like, wait, how do I do this? And I got so confused, and it was like, this is giving me the runaround, and I was like, that's crazy, you know. So the fact that it can like actually, you know, see all the subscriptions in one place and like help cancel the more complicated ones, especially as part of that service, is like, okay, yeah, no, that's super useful to have. So no, yeah, Rocket Money, it's a personal finance app. It'll help you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, so you can monitor your spending and lower your bills so that you can help grow your savings. By the numbers, their Rocket Money has over 5 million users. They've saved over a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 per year when they use all the app's premium features. So that's pretty useful. Mm-hmm. You can cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/VSWolves today. That's rocketmoney.com/VSWolves. One more time, rocketmoney.com/VSWolves. Thank you, Rocket Money.
Thanks, Rocket Money.
And this week, let's see over here. Tempo is the sponsor of this episode. That is that's a solution to a problem that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Time is limited. Eating good is hard. Finding a healthy, non-destructive way to keep yourself alive with food that's not time-consuming, overly expensive, or it tastes good are a lot of issues. Those are a lot of boxes you're trying to check.
I've been traveling a lot lately, and you know, you're traveling, eating habits go to shit. It takes a minute to get them back when you get home, and I have crawled out of some training sessions just because I know I'm not eating the way I need to eat. I know I'm carrying a little extra weight, and shit like Tempo makes that so much fucking easier to kind of get it to kind of recover from, because like they have the, like, you know, the nutrition you're eating, you know, the calories you're eating, it's all in a meal. There's no like measuring shit out, there's no figuring it like what you need to do, and it is just a shortcut to eating better, having more energy, and just being healthier, you know. And so yeah
100% of the situations where I've like put on more and like lost track of where I was going health wise have been right after a trip to America. As soon as I get back, I look and I'm like, oh, we're all busted up, you know? Yeah. So yeah, having, you know, the ability to like pop it in and like 3 minutes later, you have a good meal ready to go is super duper useful. And yeah, in particular, you know, you're getting your calorie conscious, like fast and ready to go meals with real ingredients. That's crucial as well. I feel like I used to have like a bad habit of kind of being like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm burnt out today, I'm gonna just go order something terrible, and that'll make me feel better, right? And 0% of the time does that ever work. You know,
I might have inhaled a nuclear jalapeno cheese sandwich earlier. And you know what? Bad decision.
No, you don't want regret meals, right? Yeah. So, with Tempo, you can select from 20 plus mindful choices on their weekly menu. All meals cook in just 3 minutes. And yeah, again, real ingredients. You can keep track of, you know, calories, and everything's ready to go and tastes great. They're dietitian approved menus as well. And of course, it's delivered fresh straight to your door. There's different recipes each week, so you can keep it, you know, flexible and mix it up if you want to eat healthy but taste different things and have a good variety going. Fiber rich is an option, calorie conscious, carb conscious, protein packed, standard balance. There's a lot of options as well. So take the guesswork out and check them out. For a limited time, Tempo is offering our listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/wolves. That's tempomeals.com/wolves for 60% off your first box. One more time, that's TEMPO meals.com/wolves. Rules and restrictions may apply. Thank you, Tempo.
Thanks, Tempo. So, Woolie, to lift the veil on the podcast a little bit, myself and you had a conversation not long ago, and I was saying how a lot of your recommendations have been great, really fantastic, but kind of like off the beaten path a little bit, very strange. And when that happens, I kind of need to then recommend something a little more mainstream to make sure that the videos stay YouTube friendly and all that kind of thing. And so I was like, I need you to recommend me something real mainstream, buddy, a real home run in terms of a crowd pleaser. Would you say that's all accurate?
Is this how you want to frame it? Okay.
Would you say that's all accurate, Woolie?
This is your framing. Okay. All right. Well, okay. The court will allow it.
Okay. And how do you respond?
Your Honor.
Has a lie been told?
Your Honor, let's see where he's going. He's going somewhere,
And you recommend me, and so you come to me, and you're like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you. Trust me, this next thing." And you recommend me a 33 episode Japanese toy commercial with no official English translation.
Okay, first of all, they're called action figures. All right. And I won't have my belts be spoken of with disrespect. Now, you listen here, and you listen well. There are a lot of people currently listening to this podcast with bated breath because for the first time ever, that title says Kamen Rider in it. Believe you me, they're out there, and they're listening, and they want to know your opinions on the Reiwa era that we have just entered. Okay?
Okay. So this is something I actually didn't know. Like, I was genuinely surprised by the amount of people I have seen, specifically Kamen Rider fans, I have seen anticipating this. I was at a con in Dublin, AmiCon, over the weekend, and I got talking to a Kamen Rider fan, and he said something to the effect of, "This could be really huge for the Kamen Rider community."
Oh man, Toku is out here. We out here. Shit.
Or,
oh boy,
I could be about to make some enemies.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to find out. But listen, all bullshit aside, all right, I know sometimes my recommends get a little weird and a little bit quirky, and I know at other times it's like, I don't know, you're like, oh, here, that's the legendary greatest franchise ever, and you go do that, or, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I like to keep them guessing. I like keeping it fresh.
I don't know, like, I have been thinking about it, and look, the formula has worked. I think Woolie's just got a Woolie, right?
Woolie's got a Woolie, and part of Woolie Woolieing is making sure that people walk into this from day one going, oh, wait, getting to a physical location for an activity is on the board. And I'm like, yeah, this is what we're doing. It's not just your anime versus my video game. It's more fun than that. And I love that stuff.
More fun than that. Yeah. No, you gotta keep it a little tricky. No,
even if no one will click on it.
Even if no one click. Hey, look, the 40 people who clicked on this episode are probably having a great time.
And is that not Woolie Woolieing? All right, Woolie Woolieing means I will Woolie when no one is watching, and I keep it going. God damn it.
No, look. I have nothing but respect, and I would never seriously want that to change. I think I think we just got to do it. We just got to go with our hearts on what we want to recommend. And I am curious. Why did you recommend me this, and why Gavv specifically?
I think that we need to, I think I shared a pretty juicy recommendation with you,
Okay.
I think I shared you something that was full of flavor. So there's a couple of things, and we'll get into them. But this week, this episode, Kamen Rider Gavv. Gavv is the current ongoing series. And, Kamen Rider, for anyone who doesn't know, is a long-running tokusatsu franchise. So, it is dudes in suits that ride motorcycles. They often have cool scarves, and they do kicks to defeat the rubber monster of the day. And, from the 70s all the way till now, there's been divisions that are like each era when an emperor of Japan takes over is a grouping of like a different grouping of shows, And,
whoa.
Yeah, so the Showa era, where it all started, was based on the emperor at the time, and then the Heisei era is when the new era emperor took over, and then because that again went into a third one, so all the new shows are under the Reiwa era, and so that's the large broad thing on it. And basically it's just like cool motorcycle riding masked heroes, like a Power Ranger but by himself, oftentimes doing a really hard kick to defeat the evil. Is cool
so
as hell.
Is that the difference
right?
between Tokusatsu and Sentai? Sentai is like a team.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like in terms of the word definition specifically, it's talking more about special effects and so on. Like it's a little more literal, but colloquially, it's just like the idea of a masked like Tokusatsu hero is like just kind of that one person doing the thing. Sentai is often referring to the team of 5 Power Rangers, essentially. There's going to be some poses and all kinds of like the stuff here. So off the bat, hey, guess what? I've seen a couple of them, and I think it's rad as shit. I am not the diehard that's going to make no mistakes whenever I talk about it. So I have to put up the preemptive disclaimer on anything I get wrong, including anything I just said.
Listen, Tokusatsu fans, you little freaks. This is your opportunity to be ambassadors for the thing you love. Don't be weird. Don't be. We might be about to do you a favor. Don't be weird.
All right. That's not the energy I want to bring into this. But over the years, whenever it's come up, it's always been a moment of like, there's like excitement, and then also like, oh, but there's things to get. There's a lot of right. So the reason why I recommended Gavv is because when it comes to Kamen Rider, there's different feeling like shows, and I think there's it's a lot of things. Some shows are more dark and like a little less like, I guess, blatantly child friendly, even though they're always about marketing toys. It's always about selling a belt, right? Make no mistake.
Yeah, because when I started this one and I saw that the gimmick was confectionery, I was like, oh,
yeah. You're always selling a toy, and you're always picking a theme that's going to push that idea, and that's not going anywhere. But I think that some of them, they have different like vibes to them, and what you kind of get reminds me a lot of wrestling, in that like this is family entertainment. The narratives in a lot of cases will be very straightforward and childlike and simple, but there's also
I don't know what fucking wrestling you're watching. This is the second time you've said this shit.
Okay, well, we all can't be Lucha Underground, but the thing is in the midst of that, there's these unexpected moments of like really hype choreography, really like sinister themes, and things that are like a little bit more than you'd expect, kind of like you're watching the era of kids getting Bret Hart putting the glasses on them, and like playing the music, and then you're watching the Usos get stomped on as Acknowledge Me is happening, like and those moments of like, oh shit, right? And so I feel like Gavv is a fun new season that's currently underway, and it shows you some of the best choreography, some of the funnest fights, some of the like, some really interesting like themes and stuff going on, but also you can't escape the lighthearted, whimsical nature of the action and what's going on with the theme while it's also being cool. It brings it all together. And
Woolie, you know that I have been historically immune to whimsy.
Anti-whimsy, some might say. Mm-hmm. There ain't a whimsical bone in your body.
There is not.
But there's a particular thing that I think you get out of this show, and what I'm hoping for, because I'll see where you feel. This is a lot of preamble, but I think the intro to the show like brings out a lot of what I'm hoping you would get from it.
Okay. Woolie. I fucking loved it. I loved it so much. It's so fucking cool. I've been so excited to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
I had to try so hard not to message you when I wrote Kamen Rider in our docket. I accidentally wrote it in capital letters.
Let's go.
Look, people for years have been saying to me, like, oh, you should watch Kamen Rider, you should watch Kamen Rider. Everyone was right. There was so much shit I loved in this. I'm for some reason I'm surprised. As a kid, I was really into Power Rangers. I like wrestling. I like video games. I like anime. Tokusatsu is just the Venn diagram's a circle. Like, I refuse to believe there is a person who is into only one of those things. You are into either two or you don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And from the first episode, I was in love. I was completely fucking in love. The gimmick of basically our main character, Shoma, he eats sweets. He's like a weird alien. He has a stomach mouth. He eats sweets, and when he does, he shits out little cyber creatures that look like sweet packets, sentient sweet packets with eyes that like bounce around.
Gochizo.
And then he takes those creatures and puts them on his mouth belt, and then turns a crank, and then he takes on the form of whatever sweet creature his stomach has ingested. This sounds even more insane than I thought it would. I understand that was a lot.
No,
but the shorthand is if he can eat a packet of crisps and become crisp armor. He can potato chip armor. Mm-hmm. He can eat an ice cream and become ice cream armor.
So there's a thing where every show has its thing about it, right? Its theme in a way, like I said, and Kabuto with the beetle and Double with the detectives, the hard soft boiled, all these different things. You've done with this. It's not just that it's about confectionery and treats in a way, but I feel like they picked a theme that is like Japanese food reaction content. When somebody takes a bite of something and goes, and you're like, let's make a whole Kamen Rider based on that moment.
But, okay, so here's the thing. It's a really silly idea, and nothing I'm about to say is going to make it any less silly.
Let's go.
But one thing that struck me straight away, and this is going to sound so weird, but it's okay, so first of all, when you watch the first episode of this, it's very evident that the people who make this show have been making these shows for decades and are very, very good at it. Choreography, fucking amazing. Set design, fucking amazing. Outfits, and I'm not even talking about the Kamen Rider outfits.
No.
Just the clothes people wear,
yes,
fucking amazing. The actors, great. The action, unbelievable. This was so much fucking hyper than I thought it was going to be. But one thing that just really caught me that I love so much is like, so the first suit he has is a gummy suit. It's like, a wine gum or just a gummy bear.
It's
gummy. The gummy suit.
Juicy.
And what the gummy suit has like kind of two powers. The first is that it's very bouncy, so that when someone pits the gummy part of his armor, so like the way his armor works is like there's a base suit underneath, and then it becomes clad in like the different armor of the different confectionery types.
Mm-hmm.
And so the gummy suit, the way that works is it's like his armor can absorb blows, but it like gets damaged and like gets destroyed. But then if he eats more gummy, the armor grows back. And so it's that. And then he also has a giant fist and a giant foot. And these are like these big offensive
punching
moments.
Gummy, kicking Gummy. Yeah.
Punching Gummy and kicking Gummy. And like he's doing shit like he is fighting game comboing these enemies. Like he is diving up, doing an overhead, bouncing them off the ground, and then like launching them into the sky. And it's so like if you haven't seen it, it's so much fucking hyper than you think it is.
And they've gotten better over time. That's the thing, is they've gotten so like older, there's older sets where you're like older shows where the choreography is just straightforward and they're like doing it, and then some where they get like much more brutal or like visceral in different ways, and sometimes they're just like whimsical and all over the place with magic and CG and crazy shit. And here like you're seeing
I definitely have more questions about other Kamen Rider series that I want to ask you.
Okay, I might be able to answer. I might not. I'll do my best.
If you can't, I know.
I will do my best. But
yep.
when it comes to, so like in particular with Kicking Gummy, when I saw that, it's so funny because they just showed Elena in Street Fighter 6, and her big final attack is bouncing the enemy off the ground just like Kicking Gummy does, right? Mm-hmm. And you're kind of looking for like the traditional final move, the rider kick. What's their version gonna be? Because there's different cool rider kicks, And in this case, the Kicking Gummy is like a stomp onto the ground and then a crunch, and it's like, oh, that's so like, ow, like.
Yeah, the fights can actually be pretty brutal.
It's crazy. It's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so, okay, like, and I really loved that, like, the physicality of the gum, and that they've really genuinely thought about gum material and the properties that would have in combat to, like, kind of a fucking insane degree, right? Next episode, he gets the potato chip armor.
Yeah.
And the gimmick of this, I could not believe. So when he gets the potato chip armor, he gets like the Monster Hunter dual blades, but the dual blades are these kind of like potato chip dual blades, and when he uses them they keep breaking, and he's like, oh, they keep breaking, how do these work? And then he realizes, when you put a potato chip into your mouth and it like kind of the edge like hits the side of your gum and it's like, oh, that's kind of sharp. He realizes that he has to use the swords in a specific way where it's just the edges, and then they're really powerful.
Yeah, right. Did you play with your food as a kid?
Oh, I mean, of course.
I mean, because I feel like that idea comes through in so many places. There's one in particular where it really hit me. And I don't know if you felt this at all, but the chocolate gun.
Chocolate gun's rad.
So when the chocolate gun comes out, it's a bar of chocolate, and like as a kid, I bit to create a little thing where I'm holding the block like a gun. And, right, I broke the pieces off to create a little shape, and I remember doing that, right? And like what you do with like a Hershey or a caramel kind of thing. And sure enough, that's what the shape of the chocolate gun looks like. I'm like, of course. I'm so glad that's a universal, that they get playing with your food in that way,
Yeah. But like it keeps going. Like one of the ones that I just fucking loved so much was the marshmallow.
Yeah, Fuamalo. Yeah.
Fuamalo is like especially silly in a very, very silly show. It's just basically its property is that it's like really absorbent and bouncy, but also can create sound effects. So it goes, so like the sound effect will go squish, and then the sound effect floats off into the sky, but he can grab onto the sound. It's insane, and he can like inflate really big with the marshmallow, and it's just, like every episode, I am excited to see what the new suit is, what the new power is, and each one of them comes with these like fucking just bananas transformations.
Yeah,
the level that they've thought about the transformation, like the craft behind it, and the one that really got me is Valen.
Yeah.
So he meets another
the second
Kamen writer,
the second writer,
I guess, the second writer.
And there's always a second writer.
He mainly sticks to chocolate and chocolate variants. Chocolate is kind of his thing, and
Valentine.
But when he Valentine's chocolates,
yeah.
Oh,
Valen for Valentine, as in Valentine's Day chocolate. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But when he transforms, like he has literal bricks of chocolate all over his armor, and like it looks cool. It looks really fucking cool. But my favorite thing is that when he's transforming, the bricks start out covered in tin foil.
Yes,
and then the foil explodes off them.
I'm glad.
And
you
it
caught
happens
that.
Every time. It happens every time, and every time it makes me so happy.
I'm so glad you caught the foil comes off to reveal the outfit. Yeah, you know, and I always love the look of like the naked suit, and then seeing the layers built up to on top of it. That's super fun, and like it feels like a modular technology, you know. And then you're just kind of like, you're seeing how almost like an artist would take a design for like a writer and then go like, all right, what's the theme? It's whatchamacallit, those funnel cake, you know? Let's slice it up in a way and implement the design so that it works on top of this writer suit. Super fun with that. Did you notice too, like, so while you're describing like the big marshmallow outfit and stuff like that, it's like, who are you fighting? And like you're fighting monsters, right? And kind of like Monster of the Week stuff is going on. But also there's just these enemies that are just decked out in like Machine 56 style techwear.
It's me and you from my.
It's so sick. You're like, oh,
it's just people wearing techwear.
The stuff that we wore to the Dokapon incident is basically what the bad guys are wearing.
Yeah, if you put red straps on those, that's us.
It's great.
You know what, Woolie? If that's the life we had to live, just kind of faceless goons and Kamen Rider, I'd be okay with it.
Do it for Stomach Inc.
Which brings us to Stomach Inc.
Okay.
Now, Woolie, I have to imagine that part of your selecting this series particularly is because you knew Stomach Inc. would be my shit.
Not only did I know it would be your shit, tell me, when you watch the intro for the first time and you get the whole bit where it introduces Shoma and he's dancing and he's hanging out with his friends and oh, here comes Hanto, and like then and like they're all doing their thing, and then the villains kick in and the bass drops. Tell me that didn't hit your soul, John.
So the exact words my mind said was, "We're home."
Yeah, you see the verse.
I want to be a member of the Stomach family. I want to hang out in their weird desaturated castle. I want to hang out with Jib and Sita. We'll get to. I can't believe my voice broke there. We'll get to Glotta.
We will get there. Everything in its right place. But I just like it. That's what locked it in. Is like when you see that moment where you get like Lange and the whole family doing the villain walk, you know, I was like, oh, this is having fun. This is having fun. And then, you know, Nielva at the with the glasses doing the little bit, and they're just, and everyone's in costumes like they're again thriving with their costume designing, you know.
So like you see that especially with Jib and Sita. They are these two twins, I think, and they both have like, so one has like, they both have split parts in their hair, like one side's black and one side's white, and they have like kind of they look so similar. It took me a good 14 episodes to realize Jib is a brother and not a sister.
I didn't realize that at all.
Oh,
word!
Yep. That is not two girls. That is a girl and a very gender non-conforming guy.
Whoa! I didn't catch that. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, unless I have that wrong, the wiki lists him as son, and I did get curious about it. I was like,
interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. But Stomach Ink is great, man.
Stomach Ink, and like what's so fucking cool is like everything about the world of like the apartment they live in, and like the different outfits Shoma wears, like it's all so colorful and pastel and just like bursting with saturation. Then you get to the Granut world, and it's all fucking dark and black, and it's like, oh, this is so sick.
Danganronpa like, characters come to life, you know?
Yeah, they absolutely are, and like it's just kind of a blast, and like it is formulaic, but like this to me is the equivalent of why Dragon Quest is good. Dragon Quest is good not because it ever does like anything crazy original or like subversive or deconstructive or anything like that. Dragon Quest rules because it's these people who are making incremental improvements game to game to game and are just masters of what they do, you know? This feels like that. Like I feel like I have stumbled into level 40 of this experience tree, of this skill tree.
And I'm glad that you're jumping in the middle of this ride and enjoying it. That being said, like, make no mistake, like this is a family-friendly show that like is advertising these belts for the kids. And these are the most family-friendly depictions you'll ever see of addiction, substance abuse,
cannibalism,
human trafficking. The backstory of the main character is so fucked up and dark in a way that is like, yeah, that's part of what's up here, right? Where it's like him and his mom were just like literally like his mom was kidnapped by a monster in this other alternate reality, and it was just like, what if I kept you as a pet instead of like just turned you into an ingredient in our food, you know? And then having our main character raised in that world, and so he's like siblings with these. It's so fucking, it's crazy, you know? And like, oh,
you see child beating. You see a child get struck by their father,
trapped in this like caged life. It's fucking crazy, you know? And then you're like, yeah, you're dancing, you're enjoying life and having fun with all this candy and stuff. And oh my God, is there some bad darkness underneath that, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess so there's some cool moments for sure as we go through things. I asked you to go through the first arc. So that is 1 to 16 as the setting things up and kind of introducing the players and moving things along.
So were you so you wanted me to get to the end of the Jeep and Sita storyline?
I wanted you to get to the end of the Jeep and Sita storyline, and just before what effectively looks like the third rider, you know, gets introduced.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
We're going to come back to that. Okay. So I got some stuff to say. But so one of the things I was, and I had heard about this before, but I don't think I was quite prepared for it, is just how bishy these boys are.
Yeah.
Like, I basically, so a friend had told me before that Kamen Rider actually has like a huge female audience in Japan. And I was like, really? Like, Kamen Rider?
They're all hot boys. They're all hot boys. It's crazy.
They are the dreamiest little dudes.
Yeah.
Like, it is fucking, but Shoma, his actor rules. Like, he is giving 800% in every scene he's in. And like, you know, he's the shonen protagonist. But he's also just very sweet and very kind, and he loves food, and he loves drawing in his little food notebook. And he's a blast. And then like you have what's his friend's name?
Hanty?
Hanty.
Yeah.
And Hanty, is Hanty the girl?
Oh, no. Hanto is Valen, and the girl is...
Hanto.
Yeah, and Sachika is the girl.
So Hanty is also great, just like this actress who's just really like, just so delighted to be alive, and everything's like, oh! Like, just she's so happy whenever anything happens. And then Hanto is like, I wanted to call him the Vegeta of the series, but I would learn that that's not quite right, because there is a hardcore Vegeta that, again, we're going to get to.
All right.
But, so, like, you know, you have the dynamic, and, like, I'm immediately in on all this, and I am really, really enjoying it. And then I think it's around episode 7 or 8, Glota shows up. Woolie, what are you doing to me here?
Glotta is
Glotta.
If here's the thing, right? In my brain, as I'm recommending this to you, Glotta is the last line of defense. And I said to myself, if you got 7 episodes in and none of this worked for you, at the end was a lady with a scythe. And if that didn't work, then we're out, right? She was the last line of defense.
But Woolie, she's so much more than a lady in the scythe. With the scythe, she's a lady with a scythe who beats the shit out of a Power Ranger with her bare hands.
I mean, so Glotta...
Woolie, she fucking grabs him and headbutts him.
Okay, so all the siblings are all doing their bits, and she's like just the tough girl. And when it's time for her to do shit and she shows up, it's all one combo. She shows up and does a combo, right? The 2 massive punches knocks back a Kamen Rider, right? He throws a kick out, she checks it, right? She does the kick check, and then the headbutt. And then you have your classic, like, okay, well, you know, I gotta go all out. She throws his biggest punch. The punch gets tanked, right? Kick to the wall and scythe, and I'm like, this is this. So
she kicks him. She kicks him against the wall.
Yeah, and then,
but like is pushing him against the wall, and then does another big push, and the wall collapses behind him. And I'm just like, that's the luckiest boy in the world.
The final line of defense worked. There it is, right?
So
it worked
the final line of the defense worked 100%. It was not necessary. Like, I was like, I had a moment where I was like, I turned around to Michelle and I was like, I think I love this. This is so good. But like, okay, so
it's Mei vibes from Jujutsu. You know, remember? Yeah, like I kind of get that, like, oh, I like that energy. I love that, like, oh, she just can't be stopped.
No, she is such, and like, what I love is like, she hasn't really done a whole lot where I'm at. Like, she just kind of shows up and is like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of a Kamen Rider, and she does. But yeah, and like, also that actor is like, seems crazy good at martial arts. Like, I think that was her.
Okay. I
could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, like, you cast people in these shows often for you want them to also be athletic, right? I mean, you can pick anybody. Why not pick somebody that can act, that's good looking, and also can move, you know? So as opposed to hiring 2 people and having them switch off and on constantly, you know? So yeah, she's great. She's great.
But so then like, well, you know, like, I love villains. Like, villains are just my shit. It's always what I gravitate towards. And like, you know, from fucking episode 1, I'm like in love with Jeep and Sheeta, the twins. I just think they're awesome. They're so much fun. And basically, as Kamen Rider, as Shoma is like kind of taken down and like just fucking up their operation, you're watching life get worse for them. Like,
yeah,
because they're trying to keep a lid on this Kamen Rider Gavv situation, and they're like, oh, this is kind of, you know, fucking things up for us. And then things get worse and worse and worse, and like, they basically, it gets to the point where they're like, okay, we need to step in. And there's a really fucking great episode where it's the first time Kamen Rider kind of really loses, and it's so good, and it's all really, really well done. But it leads to my favorite moment of the show. So I want to run down the rankings of my favorite Kamen Rider Gavv suits.
Let's go.
Number three is Marshmallow.
Yep. Okay. Formalo's up there. Good shit.
Yep. Number 2 is Christmas log cake. It's like called Noel to something.
Bushel.
It's when he gets the axe.
Bushel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number fucking 1 with a bullet. Caking.
Caking! Amazing!
So,
charge.
the only thing I could kind of compare this to is like this was like the Silver Ranger transformation, right? This is like, okay, so Jeep and Sita beat the shit out of Kamen Rider, and like he needs a power up. He's not strong enough to beat them. And he eats the cake that he made for his best friend.
Cake with friends. With friendship.
Cake with friendship.
Yes.
And everything goes fucking insane. And like, so the point I lost my mind is like, he basically has, his weapon here is like a kind of sword, lance, like cake decoration gun.
Icing.
Like, you know, the things you
yeah.
kind of squeeze. Yeah, you
confectionery,
squeeze it out.
confectionery squeeze. Yeah, 100%.
And it's when he goes, decoration. And he shoots out from his gun 2 sentient cream men.
Mm-hmm.
And they fight for him.
Yeah.
He has minions now.
So the little Gochizo, the little friends that are like the snacks jumping around, like they become the decorations that are here to help him. He's got ads to use in the fight.
So you know in Mighty Number 9 when you set one of your weapons to fight by itself?
Okay.
That's what he's doing.
I didn't put a bunch of time into, you know.
Sorry, not Mighty Number 9. God, Wonderful 101.
Oh, yes. Thank you. All right. That's a... Yes, correct. And they're doing their little bit, right? And the thing is it's funny you mentioned that caking, you know, is the one, because they know that. And you can tell because the henshin, okay, a cool, elaborate henshin is also a big part of what Kamen Rider is fucking about, right? And when you see him doing the ones where it's like, okay, the first couple where you get hand over the face, you get the eyes glowing, and then all the juicy treats are like spinning around as the bag comes down, you know, or it's like you get cool stuff like that. And then as the transformation completes, he falls forward, you know? There's like a kind of like, or... Valen has, you know, using the gun and he shoots it and then like all the chocolate surrounds him and rises, right? When caking debuts, you see the whole transformation complete, and then the last bit is the cape in the air going whoosh behind him.
Oh,
and
dude,
like,
when I saw the cape, I was like, we are in for some fucking shit now.
You know, they knew just how to play it right with that. And I mean, and while we're just on the transformation bits, I mean, like some of them, they're so fun, and you want to come up with cool ones. And like, you could just, this is the type of shit you could just roll in your head all day what your henshin, I think, would look like, you know, because they've been doing it for years, for decades, you know. And there's times where you see something and I go, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? And then they fucking do it, right? One in particular, and it's a bit later on, but it's not much of a spoiler, but it's just a transformation moment where Valen shoots the gun at an enemy and like hits the wall next to them, and the enemy like moves back, and then Valen walks up and punches the wall, and then the chocolate off the wall moves into him and he henshins sideways. It's so sick.
That's so sick. But like, so some of the choreography is so like bizarrely creative, like just in a way that I'm just shocked that anyone thought about it this much. There's a bit where one of his potato chip swords break, but like they always regenerate, and someone basically there's like a bad guy against the wall, and he tosses the sword at them, and it misses and it breaks, but it goes flat against the wall, and then he kicks the sword and the sword grows back and punches the enemy.
Yeah.
And it's shit like that, you know? And it's like, there's another bit where Valen, he basically does that thing from Devil May Cry where you can just like he just like uppercuts an enemy with his gun and then keeps firing. And it's like, this is so sick. High
time style, like juggle, and then you get your air, like final shooting charge, Mega Buster blast, you know. The juicy the sword that comes out of the belt as well, like that becomes at some points in the fight that's used as a thing where it's like it shoots out, you know. They really have fun with the choreography, and I mean, again, like when you see Glotta checking kicks low. I'm like, you don't do that unless you have planned out a lot of fights and are putting detail into it.
Oh no, and like I've watched a lot of kung fu movies, and like there's nothing. I think like an uncreative fight scene is such a struggle to watch sometimes. I never felt like that with this show. I felt like it's not even like the big crazy like, oh, fist gummy or all that shit. It's not even like, well, that is all super creative, but the core, I punch, you block, I kick, I go low, I go high, you block, like that shit is great. Like that shit is so good.
There's my favorite one comes a little bit later, into the series, and like there's some great stuff,
but like that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like a series that everyone involved is trying so fucking hard. Like everyone from the guys doing the CG for the transformations to the actors to like just all like everything,
and just that element too where like you're just seeing how the monsters are like I gotta have my dark treats, they're just getting they're like addicted and getting they have to.
I don't know, those dark treats look pretty good.
They do look quite tasty. The big cube, but all of that with oh no! Well, just like the kind of like the whole bit where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna keep upping the price, and like just street rules, dealer, like you, how much you brought me back this time? Okay, you have to collect humans, but you can't just collect any humans. If you just scare them and bring them back to me in like compressed form, that ain't good enough. They have to be experiencing joy, right? So capturing people in a moment of joy is rare and makes the dark treats even better because you feed them as the Soylent Green is people ingredient into the food, and now you have this whole thing where like, oh, creating joy artificially versus the main character creating joy with friends for real and eating nice foods and stuff. And, and you kind of have that like beginning bit of like the wandering littlest hobo kind of main character that he's staying at different houses. And like, you kind of wonder like, oh, is the series just going to be him like helping people like from place to place? And like initially for a bit, but then he kind of meets some real friends and starts forming some attachments and hunkering down on them, and it's also funny to see the role that like social media plays in this story, because everything has to be posted about online, and then like people's opinions are like they'll report like a monster sighting is happening downtown right now, let's go, and it's super important that you're scrolling on social to keep up to date with what's happening.
Like it's all just like a lot of fun. But Woolie, I do have to say, how fucking dare you stop the cutoff before Kamen Rider Creme Brulee? How fucking dare you, sir?
Okay.
First of all, that is my third favorite dessert of all time.
All right.
And second of all, did you position this because you knew I'd keep going, or that you wanted an incentive for me to keep going?
So the first arc ends at 16, but you take a look at what's being set up, and if you like what you see, you keep clicking because there's some cool shit, and you see it. It's right there. He showed up. He's wearing a hat.
I watched it. I watched it earlier. I was watching it earlier today, and I saw the next time on. And I was like, is that a fucking creme brulee suit? And then I looked closer and I was like, I don't think it's Shoma or Valen wearing that creme brulee suit. And then I was like, oh my God. And I kept going.
Let's go.
I had to see what happens. And dude, creme brulee Kamen Rider is my fucking shit. This show has a Vegeta. He beats the shit out of the main characters, and he's such an asshole doing it.
Kamen Rider Vram. Yeah,
Vram. Oh my God, it was so fucking cool.
That's like to be perfectly honest, I've said this and I'll keep saying it. I am respectful and conscientious of your time. And I know that despite what might come my way or whatever, I want to ask you for a reasonable amount. So 16 is a lot of episodes of something, but
Sure.
But depending on how you feel, it could feel like no time has passed at all, And my hope is when you see him sliding on his knees and then hopping to a squat, talking shit to the Kamen Rider, and then sitting on top of him and relaxing as he slams his head into the ground, that you are like, I'm clicking next. I'm in. Let's go.
And it happened like 3 times.
Right?
Like I needed to, like, it's like I can't believe, like, I was like, oh my god, the cake suit and the creme brulee suit are gonna fight. So the pudding, you see the transformation where it drops in and then like it scrapes away all the layers to reveal. Yeah, and like it's the most lunatic transformation. Giant spoons literally carve him out of a giant pot of creme brulee. And his suit looks absolutely fucking ridiculous, but somehow amazingly badass, and I don't understand how. And
like and talking about the choreography bits, when it's 2v1 there, where the riders are fighting, and you have like, there's a moment where Gavv is fighting him hand to hand with with the sword, and then Valen is shooting from the back, and like he backs up Ram up, and then Ram runs off the wall and kind of has them like locked in with the sword, and then dodges the shots, has a little like flick moment where the bullets are like deflected, and like he's just handling them both like nothing, and it's a great moment of like power level established, because you always, of course, you got to sell the new toy, right? So every time, the first time you see something show up, it's gonna do some sick shit, I love his attitude and the fact that everything is just a pain. Everything is like, God, fuck this.
And he's real like everything. And it's funny as well, because remember last episode, or maybe it was the Intermission Lounge, I can't remember, we talked about the insane lengths that Japan will redeem villains at. It's like, literally, this fucking dude, what he does is he goes into a public area, he stabs everyone with his tentacles to make them feel false joy, and then he eats them and turns them into like dark treats. He does this multiple times. It's cool though. His little brother did drugs.
Yeah, well, it's okay. And he's got a bad backstory too. We chilled out on the swing, so don't worry about it. And I will say, like,
shades of gray, am I right?
Yeah, and he does like when they kind of show you and talk to him and stuff, he does have his moment where he's like, okay, I'm in this, I have my revenge, but also, just so you know, don't forget, I don't give a fuck about humans like you do. Like he says it, so they're like, oh, okay, all right, we got you, like, yeah, But yeah, no, the Vram is great, and that's the whole next arc is just like following the new third rider and the Akuma that he threatens the Ryu and Ken with,
Yeah. Like, if it isn't clear, Woolie, like, I am in, and I am going to keep going, because I need to see where I need more Glada in my life. I need more. I need more Vram. I need it.
So, what's the last form that you saw, or transformation you saw? I guess I should put it as.
It was Valen had become the like chocolate Christmas cake with the axe. Thing.
Okay.
I don't think we've had another Shoma transformation since caking.
So you went past 16. Do you remember around where you got to?
19 was the last one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. There's some more fun ones for sure. There's a lot of toys to sell.
Because like there's a part of me, and like this is probably not going to happen. There's a part of me that's like, but how do they beat caking?
How do you defeat the caking? Amazing. Caking breaking.
So that's like, there comes a moment at the end of that first arc where something fucking tragic happens. Our boy Kamen Rider has to take someone out, and he takes them out, and it's a very sad thing in the story. And you just hear, caking amazing!
Yeah, the sound effects of the belt will not be stopped for your emotions. No. Your sentimentality will not interrupt the sound of, Tatoba, Tatoba! Like all these, It's great. I love that. I'm glad to hear you're in. I'm glad that everything worked. Keikakudori,
this was like just 100% connect rate. Like, I think maybe if I had one like issue with the show, and this is just from like watching it in the old days, I wish maybe the monsters had a bit more variety in their designs, because there's a lot of big fat monsters with both tummies, and like there's a lot of kind of crustaceans and insects and stuff. And I just remember in Power Rangers, the monster designs were so all over the place, and I kind of love that. And so I'd like if the monsters themselves were a bit more individual. I'd like maybe if they had a bit more of a narrative to their fights, because the fights generally do kind of boil down to like Kamen Rider activates the new suit and beats them.
Yeah, and so there is something too as well. Like the monsters will either fall into one of two categories. Either they'll be like, I'll never stop my dark treats. I love them forever. Or the monster being like, oh God, I'm sorry, you're so strong. And then Kamen Rider being like, it's too fucking late for that. Literally, right? But but I will say that like on counterbalance, the monsters that are the main characters, including Lage 9 and the monster forms of the stomach ink, are all super incredible designs, right?
Okay.
And also I would say whatchamacallit, Shoma's dad, and some of the like there's some really cool like monster in a business suit looking characters that I'm like, fuck me, that goes hard,
Cool. So, okay, this is ongoing right now, right?
Yes, you had some questions.
How long does the average Kamen Rider go for?
So the shows that I've seen will go up to like about 50 episodes in some cases. Let me just make sure that I'm correct on that. Let's see. I want to because right now we are at they're in the middle of the 30s or so, but I remember the shows I've watched going around up to 49, 50 episodes. So it's close to wrapping up, I would probably say.
Is it always dudes who become Kamen Rider, or like they're girl Kamen Riders ever?
In the shows I've seen, it's always been dudes. Sentai with Power Ranger, with that side, it's a mix usually.
Sure.
But with main riders, the shows I've seen, it's always been dudes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so you mentioned earlier
there might be side riders or second riders in certain shows that it's different for, but just as a cool, uninformed answer. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that some would be like darker or edgier. What is the Shadow the Hedgehog of Kamen Rider?
Okay, so that's the thing. Now, this is where a lot of people who can tell you shows that I haven't seen yet would kick
I am
in.
asking our audience as much as I'm asking.
Yeah, so because I know I've heard a lot of good things about a lot of the like some Heisei stuff that's like stuff that comes up a lot of the time is like Ryuki and Kuga and things like that. But I guess from what I've seen, I feel like Kabuto is like a darker show that has like a protagonist that, you know what it is? It's funny because Kabuto, because I mean you've heard of, and that's a big popular one that like gets recommended a lot. It's
Red Scarf Dude.
Yeah, the Tendo Soji. He's like Obachan. My grandmother said this, right? He's the undefeatable, unstoppable, and it's a lot like JoJo Part 3, where you're like, it's this badass, unstoppable main character who's like flawless, and that's so cool, and you're like, oh damn, I wish he kind of had some flaws, a little bit. But in the meantime, he has like one of the meanest, most aggressive, brutal, raw rider kicks, and I would say like that has a bit of like, there's some grit to that show. Then there's other characters that are a bit more like happy-go-lucky. And then things like take a dark turn, like Gaim, for example, is an example of one that it was written by Urabochi. And
oh yeah, this was mentioned to me by the dude at the con.
Yeah, so Gaim is one it stands out. A lot of people like it, and it's a pretty good one because it's a weird, like, sort of like it starts out as a setting with a bunch of kids having their dance battle friends in a city where they're trying to spark joy in everyone's hearts, and then things take a turn for the worst, and it gets pretty dark, and like the whole setting kind of gets like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? It's one of those chaos archetype situations.
That might be my next stop after Gavv.
Okay. It is, but it just it comes up a lot, but it's also one of those ones where you're like, the way this flows and is very different from others because of who the writer is, you know.
Yeah, but I've consumed a lot of Robochi stuff, and I do, for the most part, like what that dude does. I think he has a lot of interesting ideas.
Okay. But I also know that, again, they're always selling toys. So make no mistake, you're always going to get that. And my personal...
Sorry, there was a couple of times watching this where I was like, oh, fuck, that's so cool. I wonder, is there a figure of this? And then I was like, yeah, of course.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I know. It's stupid.
Yeah. My personal favorite is, of the shows that I've watched, is Double, right? So that's one that I think a lot of people can get started on as well. It's super fun. It's a concept of two writers in one. They kind of Potara fusion.
Oh, I think I've seen bits of that.
Yeah, it's a fun concept where like two different writers and then there's a split down the middle, and so they'll have two different powers combining, and each combination allows them to do different things and stuff. And you know, that's a really, really fun one. And my favorite writer, Skull, comes from that as well. It's Detective
Skull.
Kamen Rider Skull is the best, is the sickest.
Okay.
I love him.
I got
and
Kamen.
Yeah, you could just take a look at him. You could just Google the picture, right?
Woolie, I have a figure of this guy.
Do you?
I would get it, except most of my figures are still in moving boxes.
Okay.
When I went to Japan, I saw this guy in a machine.
Yes.
And I was like, that dude's fucking sick. I'm gonna win that. And I did, and I still have him. That's nuts.
He's right there in the glass behind me. He's right there. Like, he rules. And
so look, this was always meant to be.
Yeah. That was meant to be. But all this to say that you know, people will have, like, there's lots of different starting points and all these things. There's no places to go. But at the very least, I wanted Gavv to be like, yo, get into what's currently happening. They're doing great and everyone's having fun, and it shows you the whimsy, and it's like Kirby Superstar, right? You start with Kirby Superstar and you see all the facets of Kirby. And then if you're like, I want something a little more lighthearted, I want the another character that's like kind of whimsical and having fun while going through his story, you got O's, where you got this kind of ska music, happy-go-lucky protagonist, you know? Or you jump all over the place to get these different things. If you want a noir story, detectives, you go with Double. You can, you know, and
I think
Hibiki's got your music, you know?
I think maybe what I want to watch is a 2-hour brief look into all the different Kamen writers and pick out what speaks to me. But for the moment, I just want to watch Gavv.
There you go.
I loved it.
And you know, this is all to say as well, like the original, if you can appreciate like the legacy and the special effects and the history of it, going back to the old shows, you know, is always a possibility. You can go to the Showa era, you can watch the originals, you know. Do you know Segata Sanshiro? The Segata Sanshiro, that okay.
I am so intimately familiar with Segata Sanshiro.
Okay, so then you're intimately familiar with the fact that is the first Kamen Rider.
Fuck off. That is so cool.
Yes, that is Takeshi Hongo. That is the guy that started it, right?
Yeah, no, but Willie, you don't wade around in the Dreamcast era as much as I have without experiencing Segata Sanshiro.
So that's why he is that guy. He is Segata Sanshiro so because cool. He's Kamen Rider first, right?
And was that the kind of Jotaro one you mentioned earlier?
Oh no, the Jotaro one is Kabuto. That's
okay, cool.
That's from the Heisei era, a bit later. Shin Kamen Rider I talked about on one of the episodes where we covered the best of the year.
That's the
movie.
Hideaki
Anno movie, exactly. So that is Hideaki Anno redoing the first Kamen Rider, right? And so it's a fucked up, you know, version of the beginning first shit that happened in the 70s, you know, which is again really weird out there and also very dark, very, very brutal. I'd say it's the most violent, you know, the most brutal. If you're looking,
sign me up.
If you want to go, yeah, you want to go all.
I am nothing but a walking Shadow the Hedgehog PlayStation 2 box with Linkin Park playing on a shitty CD player in the background.
Okay, because the trailer for that has a monster getting rider kicked and its guts explode into blood that splatters on the helmet.
Perfect. Let's do it.
You know?
Let's do it.
But yeah, hell yeah. Henshin. Let's go.
Woolie, we gotta rank Kamen Rider Gavv.
Let's do it. I mean, mission accomplished as far as I'm concerned.
No, look, this was a complete mission success, critical hit, this home run, slam dunk, every other analogy. This hit so hard. It was great. Okay, look, it's not. I think we can bypass the first 10 here. So like Silent Hill Ascension, Omicron, Mystical Fighting Game Tournament, Sexy Hiking, every Leprechaun movie, Cyber 6, Police Thoughts, Fear and Hunger, Caribbean Food, Twin Peaks Season 1, Darkest Dungeon 2. This ranks higher than all these. And just to remind people, the only metric we're going on is the median level of joy that me and Woolie feel towards this thing. We're not saying anything's better than anything, but shit that hits hard for us both is going to rank higher.
How much does it speak to your soul?
HXH, better than Kaiji Season 1, better Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, more than Vinland Saga Season 1. I would say so. Man, there was a time when Vinland Saga Season 1 was like top 3.
It was pretty big. It was high up there. I've seen some people somewhat disappointed in Fear and Hunger getting pushed, but we're just reflecting the spirit of them.
It's as simple as Fear and Hunger 1 just did not resonate with you.
Well, this is what happens when you make a list, man. No matter what, there's going to be a top and there's going to be a bottom. It is what it is.
I think Fear and Hunger 2 is going to do a lot better, and I think in retrospect, Fear and Hunger 1 might have. I just think the way things kind of happened with that episode, you just didn't have a great time with it. So like that's what it is. Like, I love Fear and Hunger. I wouldn't place it that far down on my list, but I understand why it did on this list.
I did enjoy it. I just suffered through it, but I did enjoy the game and what it was going for. That being said, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Sacred and Terrible Air. Yes, definitely. Starting BJJ. I think it would.
Okay.
I think it would.
Okay. Damn.
Legend of the Galactic Heroes up to episode 15. Yeah.
For you personally, yeah? Oh, yeah.
I think so, yeah. I think
let's go.
So.
Let's go.
Invincible Seasons 1 to 3. I think so.
You're in there. It's
This was the feeling of, I feel like watching this like I did when I played Yakuza 0, where it's like, oh, this was missing. This was a piece that was missing.
Clicking.
I feel the same way where like when I watched New Japan for the first time,
right?
And I was like,
right.
Oh, there is so much I love that is adjacent to this.
Clicking play is a joy, right? And
every time.
And now I'm just like, I love seeing those little gochizos jumping around and tripping over each other.
Another thing I would say, no bad episodes.
Yeah.
There is good episodes and there is extremely hype episodes. There was no episode I was bored.
Okay, so when you watch other series, you will see that there will be different arcs, and some shows are much more like, some shows have like not filler, but they'll be like, everything wraps up in one. Some shows will be like connected where there's like two pieces, there's different things. This one is much more narrative driven, where like everything kind of goes into the next in a more linear fashion. And I think it improves the feeling of like wanting to watch what happens next each time, because they're more connected for sure. Yeah. Okay. Where are we going?
Another former top 3, Kill 6 Billion Demons.
Volume 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Gavv takes it.
Okay. We arrive at Dokapon Kingdom.
Now this is tricky, right? Because Dokapon Kingdom is agony. Dokapon Kingdom is despair. Gavv is joy.
It's joy.
Gavv is just
joy.
Pure escapist heaven.
Gavv is also, while this is not the whole Kamen Rider franchise, Gavv represents some of the best it has to offer. Like, make no mistake, you're getting quality.
I feel I am getting premium.
Mm-hmm.
I think it beats Dokapon.
Let's go. I'm riding on my little fucking gummy juicy fucking bike with the pink and purple wheels. Looks like a Hot Wheel.
The start of every episode.
Yeah.
The start of every episode, because they want to sell as many of those gummy cars as they can.
Well, that's where the sponsors thing would go. That's where this show's sponsors is brought to you by, you know? Oh my god. All right. Where are we going?
Number 6. Earthbound. That's a tough fight.
That's a tough fight. I mean, Henshin, you know, that's a tough battle.
What do you think?
I respect if one of the greatest RPGs of all time wins this fight. I understand.
I think maybe Earthbound stays solid here.
All right.
It is closer than I ever thought it would be. Like, Earthbound is just kind of it's just this inscrutable landscape transforming, infinitely influential piece of art. And Gavv is not that. Gavv is like an amazing time.
Yes,
you know?
It is also like a complete work. And here you've watched the first 19, you know, so anything that lands in this top 10, because this is getting violent, this list.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that lands in this top 10 is
at this
phenomenal.
Point, yep. So at this point, just to read the top 10 for people, like this is how stacked this is. Invincible Seasons 1 to 3 is number 10. Number 9, Kill 6 Billion Demons Volume 1. Number 8, Dokapon Kingdom. Number 7, Kamen Rider Gavv. Number 6, Earthbound. Number 5, Starting Boxing. Number 4, Roman Reigns. I feel a little worried about that now, but it's okay. We'll just move past it.
Let time
number 3,
sort time out.
Yep. The Vengeance Trilogy. Number 2, Kendrick Lamar's discography. Number 1, the Shibuya Incident.
I mean, life-changing experiences on this list, you know?
Yep. Yep.
So.
And then in the Throne of Heaven, above all, Berserk.
I am glad that I picked the right one at the right time, and we got there. And for those of you that were waiting and were like, what the fuck, and wanted to get it out there, I told you, all right? Mm-hmm. Don't doubt me.
I remember at the panel, someone did recommend Kamen Rider, and you said to them, you will not be the one to recommend them Kamen Rider.
No.
Did they recommend Gavv, or what did they recommend?
No, I forget what was it, like Agito or so? I forget which show they recommended, but they recommended a Kamen Rider show, you know, and like we had the power of veto, and I put my hands up and I said, veto. It is my job to get John into Toku. So there we go. Done and done. Yeah. All right.
Done and done.
I couldn't be happier.
Okay. I mean, I loved it. This is now a part of my life. By year's end, I will own Kamen Rider merch. There is no question.
I mean, listen, when you get your first figure and then you get your belt, like it all starts there, you know, you're locked in. That's it.
Oh, what figure do I get though?
You get your belt. I got my Lost Driver. I'm satisfied. You know, but you gotta own one. You gotta own one. There's a lot, and I will say the Kamen Rider skull I have, it's one of the bigger, like more accurate figures with like actual like hat fabric and scarf and shit. Like it's, you know, there's you can go, like you can see in Japan, there's a million levels and grades and shit you can go through. There's more than enough for the kids to buy and adult fans as well. Like they know who they're selling to.
I am looking at some fancy ass figures. Man, I might just go for just vanilla Gavv, or that's a bad way to put it, gummy Gavv. Like,
and I'll tell you one thing.
Looking at these toys, Woolie, I'm like, wow, these were designed to be toys because they translate perfectly.
So when I went to Japan first time, I went to the Kamen Rider Cafe, and it was so cool because they just had like glass display cases dedicated to like every single thing, every toy and every belt, you know. It was a lot of fun.
There's a Kamen Rider with a horse,
dude.
There's ones with trench coats, dude. Oh, there's double, and it looks so cool. Cyclone Joker,
yeah. No, I'm telling you,
Oh, Willie, I got a studio to build.
Listen. Just take it one step at a time. All right. But here, let me just find a cool little thing here to just I'll just leave you on a little design teaser. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about fun designs. You know, here's a motherfucker named Kamen Rider Todoroki.
I mean,
and it's just
come on.
And it's just like, can you just look at the guitar? Just look at it.
So just to be everyone clear, it's a Kamen Rider playing guitar in maybe the sickest mask I've ever.
It's the coolest thing in the world. It's just yeah. All right.
Well, Woolie, thank you for inflicting this upon my life. Michelle will have many questions at some point.
Many have tried. I have succeeded. Let's go.
You succeeded. You did it.
All right.
Sometimes I feel like we do get like residual hatred from each other's fan bases because it's like, well, you should be recommending them this, you know?
I think everything in its right place at its right time.
Yeah.
You know?
Except Symphono Gears. If you're watching this, dude, never. It's never happening. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it never does.
So in the earlier question about like recommendations falling flat, I was like Symphono? No, Symphono. I haven't even. Anyway, it's fine. Run the bit. Shall we get to Scavenger's Reign?
Let's do this.
All right. So, this was not, you said nothing about it. You just said, watch the show, right? And I'm like, okay. And within like seconds almost, you kind of realize, oh, this is a new cartoon, it's a new animation, it's a new story, it's doing its thing. But what are we focusing on and spending our time looking at in this show? And Scavenger's Reign is what I would say, it's a genre that I didn't know was a genre until now. Because I've seen things kind of like this before, but I'm now going to give it a name. Ecosystem survival. Does that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because you watch as fantastical, unknowable like creatures are interacting with the environment and the ecosystems of a completely foreign alien place. And you're watching a biology class in a science fiction world talking about creatures you've never seen or heard, and watching their like mating rituals or how they feed or how these how flora and fauna come to exist. It's so fascinating and so cool if you're somebody that is interested and into designing fake biology, you know, and like to just lean in hard on this. And so what it reminds me of is back in the day, there's a French movie from like the 70s or so called La Planète Sauvage, right? Fantastic Planet is what it's called. And it's this old animation where you can go and look and just see like this weird world where humans are like little or animals in the wild, and then there's these other greater big beings, and all these weird plants, weird animals, weird creatures. It's very impressive animation, you know, for the time especially. And it's kind of just like, you know, keeping you in a situation where you're like, oh, nature is out to get me and can destroy me at all times if you can't figure it out. If you can't, you know, keep in pace with your environment and be in touch with it, you know? It also reminds me of, have you ever played the old PC and Super Nintendo game Out of This World?
I have, actually, yeah.
Out of This World is a really big vibe here where you get teleported to another planet, and the first thing that happens is you're in the water and some alien tentacles try to rip you asunder.
Oh, God, so my cousins used to be big into this game. It was like, as a child, it was too scary to me.
it's very you die in seconds if you don't know and you're not paying attention to it, you know. But like I feel like both of those references.
Also, some of the most iconic ass box art ever.
Oh yeah,
out of this world.
It's great, and like I beat it, but a lot of beating that game involves trial and error, going through locations where you're just like, that creature, I don't know what it does. I don't know if I can approach that or not, or if I have to, and like you don't, the whole world is out to get you, and it's all scary. So in Scavengers Reign in particular, this is funny because we just talked about mouthwashing not too long ago, and the vibe here is quite on point because you have a ship that's a freighter ship in a space, trucking sort of future, and the ship, something goes wrong and it has to land on a wild planet, and the people that survive have to make it in the wild and figure out what to do and how to get out of there if they can. And you just immediately get introduced where it's like, okay, we get introduced to some survivors, and you're starting to take it in, but like more than the characters in the world, you're seeing like things where like biology has there's like producers, like things that grow and feed, and then you have like consumers, the animals that pick from the flowers or eat, or and so on, and then like the predators and that eat each other, and then you have decomposers, you have things that break down life and let it begin anew. And like if you need all of these things for a closed ecosystem to thrive. And like you can see that like the people right behind this show are huge fans of these concepts and are like just designing sketchbooks and sketchbooks full of these things. When you see moss growing with a circuit, and the two are, and it's like actually embedding itself in a way where like it can work harmoniously, with like tech. When you're seeing little birds that attach to like a tower and kind of disappear into it, and they're like flat nope like little flying creatures,
I think this show is amazing for like, you see a little guy and you're like, well, he doesn't have any legs, how does he get around? And then it'll unfold or move in this unconventional way, and you're like, oh, I didn't think it would do that.
Yeah. So there's one creature that you see, like the episode basically starts showing you like a body of like a little roadrunner just falls and crashes onto the ground and dies. And then from the body, it grows like these bones, like a bone plant, and that bone plant bears some fruit. And then animals come up and start feasting on the fruit. And when they crack it, one of these roadrunners senses and smells it from a distance, comes, and then with the spike ribs sticking out of its back, grab the animal that's feasting on the fruit, and it runs into a tree. And then when it goes into the tree, the inside of the tree has these little like esophagus style like globules that it rides up to the top, and then together with the others of its pack uses light to reflect and cook you, and then they eat. And that is the life cycle of this one weird creature.
And that is maybe like one tiny fraction of this planet. And you are getting, every episode, you're getting like these kind of vertical slices of how life works on this planet. And where the kind of conflict of the show comes in is a bunch of humans crash land on this planet, have to figure out how it works. One of the things I really love about this show is there is absolutely an element of horror to it, right? Like there is real sci-fi fantasy horror. But what's great is like a lot of the times when we say horror, ultimately we mean someone or some entity with some sharp object or appendage chasing us with malicious intent, right? The horror of this show is that you take away the malicious intent, because what's scarier than like this evil creature trying to kill you? A completely neutral landscape that you will just be digested in. this place that's going to absorb and consume you, not because it's evil, but because that's just life here.
That's just life.
That's just what happens.
Right.
There's nothing evil
malice
in this show. No malice, but this weird thing is going to trap you in hallucinations so it can digest you.
And so this thing that keeps coming back around is, can you harmonize with the ecosystem, right? Are you in touch with what's going on, or are you like too like locked in to, you know, the trappings of I guess being a human, you know, to see, you miss the forest for the trees, right? When you have you know, a little telekinetic murder panda.
A little fella.
Little guy. And you just kind of see this creature. It's like, what does it do? Oh, well, there's a little smaller organism, and I can just zap my brain light into you, and then I'll feed you something that like fills you up with mirth. And now you're going to go find food and bring it to me. And that's it.
Yeah.
I just sit here and you get my food.
So, yeah, this little dude, he's completely like, he has no claws, he has no fangs, he can't do anything, but what he can do is control other creatures and use them to get like food for him. And when he meets a human and takes it over, it breaks the ecosystem.
So you get this really like the perfect combination, because of the survivors, right? You get introduced to like a couple different groups, and this one in particular, Kamen, is the survivor that he just got a bad beat because his pod landed in a tree and he's stuck in it and he can't get out, and he's looking outside and he's losing his mind after what appear to be months. A couple months have passed when we start the show, and he's just eating surviving rations inside and like losing it. And this thing breaks him out and they form a connection, you know? And then we kind of, from there, we start to find out a little bit more about who these characters are and what their backstories are. I have to say, when it comes to the humans, like, they left me with wildly differing impressions at the beginning, middle, and end. Like, we went on journeys, and so for example, we get introduced to is Ozzy, right? And Ozzy is the loner. She's a survivor, and she's just out there, kind of like in almost like thriving because there's no one else around, you know. And the thing is, though, is like what Ozzy does have is a little robot companion, Levi. And so the first thing that you see is she turns Levi off, doing a little diagnostic or so, turns him back on, and then kicks him, and then goes, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" And Levi's like, "Oh, I'm okay, you know," and
Levi has like the cutest voice,
yeah,
like just your heart, like real Alphonse Elric kind of shit.
Yeah, definitely Alphonse, yeah, for sure. But I'm like, you just kicked a robot when no one was around for no reason. You kicked the Boston Dynamics dog, right? You failed the shopping cart test to me. I'm immediately like, what's your problem? You know, right?
Wait, Woolie, what's the shopping cart test?
Oh, or are you unfamiliar? The shopping cart test. It's real simple. So John, you're at the supermarket. You finished your list of groceries, and you're coming back out to the car, and you fill the car up, and there's no one else around you. You're done putting everything away, and your shopping cart is next to you. The shopping cart retrieval is way the fuck over there. Do you go put the shopping cart back?
I feel this is a have you ever worked retail or not test. Of course you put the fucking shopping cart back.
Funny.
You piece of shit.
Okay. So it's not, I mean, okay, if you've worked retail, then you have the empathy and you know the deal. But even if you haven't, it's real simple. There is no consequence to not putting the shopping cart back. There's no rule enforcing it. There's no one that will punish you. There's absolutely nothing that happens to you negatively if you don't go put the shopping cart back. However, if you don't, you're a piece of shit. It says a lot about you.
We all need to show base level empathy to people we don't know. I think maybe that principle might help things a little bit.
It's just a simple. It's like when no one is around to judge your ethics, if you are willing to return the shopping cart to its area to avoid someone else parking, getting scratched up, getting hurt, to avoid all the accidents that could happen from it, and to make it a little bit easier on the person whose job it is to come collect it, then that you're somebody who's not a completely selfish piece of shit. That's it. You know, there's it's a simple idea, you know?
Okay.
That's the shopping.
Gotcha.
That's what it is. So yeah, you know, so I'm like, Ozzy, what's your deal? And then I kind of watch as right after that, Ozzy, first thing she does is, Levi saves her by using one of their flares, which is like, it's a precious thing. They don't have many left, but she's about to get like ate by part of the planet's ecosystem. And the robot saves her because it judges the situation worth it. And then she gets mad at being saved by Levi. And then later on, there's a storm that breaks out that's wrecking everything, and then Levi's like, "Come this way," and like and Levi's suggesting, you know, shelter, and she's like, "No," and she's getting mad at the suggestion and being like, "Oh, you stupid," you know. And then later, like when Levi leads her to safety from the storm, and she sees like this little oasis area that's like safe and everything, and she's like, "How did you know about this?" And Levi's like, "Oh, well, while you've been asleep, I've been exploring and looking around." You know, and just for curiosity. And she gets mad at that. And she's like, "You're a robot. What are you doing? You shouldn't be." And I'm just like, I hate you. You suck. Right. And I understand the part where you're like, I'm concerned that the robot is having too much individuality and personality here. But that initial thing of just being so aggro, and the thing is because she's a loner and because she doesn't like dealing with others, it's part of the personality bit, but it really rubbed me the wrong way, and I was like, all right, Ozzy, what the fuck ever. You got a cool hover bike though, that's dope, but I was like, god damn it, I'm not enjoying how, you know, like the antisocial part of what you're about is like just you're abusing this poor robot, you know. And the only mistake that the only wrong thing Ozzy ever did was bury a wrench out of curiosity, you know. Anyway, that's how that starts. Fortunately, what I can say is that as we progress, you know, Levi starts to grow and change, and curiosity sparks and awakens, and you start to see these amazing,
and so does
life, and Ozzy, upon seeing what she thinks might be like, oh, hold on a second, like this might be the spark of like sapience. There might be more than just the programs running here. She respects it. And I go, all right, I'm like, awesome, because that can go a really harsh way with a lot of that's a story. I mean, you want to, any post Asimov story will just be like, hey, robot is alive, or is it? Do you treat it like an object or like a person? What do you do? And in this case, it's like, okay, she respects it and then grows with it and changes, and I'm like, thank you, I appreciate that, you know.
Yeah, and there is a really amazing moment of kind of horror, kind of just deep intrigue, where she opens up Levi's circuits and sees that some organic matter is starting to connect them, and it's like, oh fuck. But then, like, the way they kind of go about it is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's like, at first she's like, should I clean this? She's like, I got to clean you out. And then Levi's kind of like, please don't. And then she tries to remove some and it hurts. And she's like, oh. And then she kind of has to confront this, like, oh, my little robot helper that's not alive is now feeling touch. I need to respect that, you know? So that's great. And then, of course, you get the, you know, so that's kind of where they go with her for a bit. You have Kamen, who I described as just like got that bad beat and has this weird now intertwined relationship with this mind controlling thing. And the way you see the mind control happen from both sides, it's so interesting because it is showing you how any creature, it just taps into the part of your brain that is like memory, rewards, primal, you know, your limbic system. And he sees his ex-girlfriend, his fiance, and she's guiding him around. And it's like, oh yeah, the creature will show you whatever your brain needs to see, you know. And you kind of think of like when a parasitic mushroom takes over an insect or a host, you know, and it just kind of like hits the right things in your brain, or when toxoplasmosis gets into, you know, a human it comes from a cat, and you're just like, all of a sudden the way a mouse reacts around a cat is like not fear, but it's like embracing it. It's all that weird brain control, chemistry, biology stuff, you know,
which like sounds unreal until you read up on it, and it's like, no, this is horrifyingly actually something.
Yep. It affects humans, it affects animals, it affects all kinds of life out there. It's real. You know, Parasect is not a random Pokemon for no reason. Like, that's a thing that happens, you know? And so when you then get like this human involved in the mix, it's more than capable of like getting food. It can get big prey. It can get things for you to feast on, little panda creature, you know? And then the panda thing's like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing that then, you know?
And like over the course of the episodes, you see this little creature swell and swell and swell and become gigantic because it's has access to a level of food it never did before. And you see it kind of take revenge on other creatures that have like wronged it and stuff.
And then while that's happening, Kamen is you're looking through the flashbacks of like who he is because of the fact that it exposes his relationships and stuff, and you're like, oh, and you're a selfish piece of shit. You're a cowardly, manipulative, willing to sacrifice human lives for the corporation type of asshole. You know, it's what if I lose my job type, you know? And you're like, oh God, I see. So the two start to corrupt each other, you know? Sam and Ursula, you got this cool pair, you know, you got an older guy, younger.
Ooh, that goes places.
Yeah, older guy, and kind of like a younger, he's the captain of the ship, and, you know, and she's like just an officer, and I'm like, great pair, no notes, you know, they're doing good, relying on each other, surviving strong. And
oh, that was a bit nasty. I'm sure things are fine. I'm sure it's fine.
Yep.
I'm sure it's fine.
And they have moments of like, ooh, you swallowed like a death spore. Are you okay? Yeah, okay, we're fine. We're moving on, you know. And I love that, like, they have their disagreements, but they talk it out, you know. They kind of get there.
Like, for such a fantastical series, the characters are, like, very grounded.
They
for
are.
the most part. Like, they're very believable and just act in very human ways.
Yes, and they act in ways that I find it's very similar to Clair Obscur, actually, which, you know, you'll see. There's these great little just simple but, like, human moments between them. And one of my favorite moments in the whole show is as they're running away from those aforementioned little, like, bird roadrunner things. They're kind of in this little forest of closing and opening wood that threatens them.
Oh my God, yeah.
And Ursula just catches a glimpse of a light, and she's drawn to it, and she kind of walks over and looks, and I can only describe this as a Mushroom Trip music video occurs as she stares at a plant that opens up and life happens, and these little light orbs float into the air, and then a little cryptid man wakes up from his shell and begins, and then the lights start to come back down, and the cryptid man brings together these elements and shapes out a little thing and fits it into a piece and looks at her, and they have a moment, and then he does his job and pushes a thing into a thing, and then lies back down and begins to decompose because his job is now done, and the lights all land back.
That's life. That's and
then
life.
The flower,
it's all right there.
And then the flower closes and the cycle begins again, and that's it. And she just has this like, oh God, it's such a beautiful, horrifying what is happening moment.
It's everything. It's everything on the surface of this weird little flower mushroom.
And it profoundly, deeply affects her. And she's like trying to explain that. And Sam is like, what is wrong with you? We got to get out of here. We got to survive. That's crazy. We don't have time to go look at lights. And he's like, he's not wrong because the planet is trying to kill you.
Right.
But that moment, you know, and then because she has that, you're like, oh, she's someone who's willing to like take in the environment a little bit and like vibe with it, look around. How did that work? What did that animal do up here to make this thing open? You know, and like that can mean the difference between life or death. You know, it's such a cool puzzle of a world, and every episode...
that's what I think so exciting. Like the more you watch, the more you're kind of able to catch glimpses of how it all sort of fits together. You know what I mean? And it's just really fucking cool.
I feel like you get a really satisfying, like, you know, when it does go back to the interpersonal between these characters and finding out what they did on the ship before the crash, how we got here, and what their involvement was. It's a really fun, tight story of like, you know, everyone's role that they played and how it all fits together. And I you know, just kind of hitting that point where there's like you got them, the characters are just kind of like, man, fuck Kamen though, you know, like that asshole, he everyone, I hope they're doing well, but fuck that guy, he deserves what he gets. And you're like, yeah, no, exactly, that is correct, right?
And he got it.
And you know, the idea of just like a parasitic like plant that can clone a creature, send in an infiltrator that can spore blossom and take out the whole group and use your body as a decomposition site to grow more of itself. That evolved in nature. It figured it out, you know? It's so great.
There's one really... And, like, it is kind of the creatures that are the star of the show here. Yeah. Like, each episode you're meeting in... If not, like, a new creature, a new, like, part of the ecosystem, but there's one especially horrible one where they think they come across, like, a native human. And... I don't want to spoil it, but like as that unravels,
I mean, we're talking about it all.
I mean, like as you can see, it's actually this giant fucking tree creature that is basically puppeting around the nervous system of this human's body to lure in other humans. It is so awful. And then, like, you know, there's a thing that kills me in media, and it's the slow death. It's the no, I think I'm fine.
Yep. Right. The parasite, the slow parasite.
Yeah.
And it's so, and you know, because when you look up the stuff with ants, where an ant returns to a colony that has a parasite on it, if that scent is detected by the colony, you'll watch them rip that ant apart because they're all at risk, you know? And so these things of like tricking a person into thinking they're okay and feeling great actually, and like, it's like, oh yeah, you could just press all the buttons in the brain to elicit the right response, you know? It's so insidious and interesting. And I
do also want to just shout out how like beautiful this show is.
Oh yeah, the animation is gorgeous. Yeah,
just gorgeous. And I think like what lets a lot of these like alien creatures feel so believable is just the crazy ways they move, and like it's and then like the landscapes and the backgrounds are like they kind of look like Mobius paintings sometimes.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Again, I again point towards La Planète Sauvage, you know, like this old movie that like really feels like it's on the list of influences here. And then also it's interesting how like when you have a character like Ozzy, who's like, you know, again the lone survivor, the antisocial one that likes to, you know, spend time away from people, then encountering, you know, characters like Chris, Barry, and Terrence, right? The new folks, right? That drop on. It's so interesting to kind of see like, okay, the reflection of who she is in relation to them, what abusive manipulation looks like in relationships as well. And it's also kind of nuts too, because like, I feel like one of those characters, I think Barry, is kind of like autism coded in a way. And there's that thing with the character where like it like they keep like he keeps getting his hands on this like toy that he's fascinated with, like a little yak back. But every time he gets the yak back, something horrible happens. And then like they keep giving it back to him, and I'm like, stop, you know, until eventually he just stomps it out himself. He's like, fuck this thing, you know, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe you're still, you know, it was crazy. But no, I thought it was a great little series, and you know, the most beautiful element of it is every time something happens, life, you know, death. It's all in the game. It's all cyclical, but usually at some point, often at the end, you will see an animal or something that died, or a person, whatever, and from it there is a blossom, and there is a flower that grows out of every corpse. And this death blossom is such a beautiful, cool concept, because as it's shown throughout the whole thing, you eventually start to see that it's like, this is what the growth inside of Levi the robot is like attached to. That's the same creature. It's almost like the cordyceps, in a way. And like that being one force on this planet, and the other side of it being just greed and growth and gluttony and the symbiotic wild relationship between Kamen and this murder panda apex predator thing, and like all of that clashing into each other. There's that beautiful montage of just like this there's producers, there's consumers, and then there's decomposers, right? And the decomposer has seen all life for the entire history of the evolution on this planet. And like, you cannot just waltz in and like Kamehameha battle that,
No. And like that's like, there's an impossibility these people face where it's like, this planet is so large and so uncaring. And again, it's not malice. It is the existence of a biome that has so long existed without you and will now completely absorb you. And yeah there is no Kamehamehaing it. There's no escaping it. There's no fighting it. The most you can hope for is to integrate it with some way in like some manner of peace. And even that's kind of impossible.
It's like the brutality of the first time you learn about how certain animals in the wild just eat their own young. And then the kind of dispassionate, like, and that's the way it goes. There's no feeling on the matter. You know what I mean?
Red-breasted robins, the Christmas bird?
Yes.
Do not ever look up the ecology of them if you want to not view them differently forever.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I'll do you one in the same vein. Hippos. Never look up hippo estrus and the conditions thereof. It's horrifying knowledge.
Okay.
I feel bad now because now everybody's going to go look it up. But
yeah, I think we've just ruined two beloved. Although hippos have always been kind of fucked up. I think, like, especially when it's that stat, like the amount of people. Like, is it hippos kill more people than lions?
Yeah, hippos kill more people than anything. Hippos are
they are
insane.
They are murder machines.
They are.
They're the only Elden Ring boss that is like real world accurate.
Yeah. It's so, and I mean, anyway, like the I'm sorry, I'm taking damage from it. The whole thing is just it's wondrous and beautiful in that, like, in the respect it pays towards like life and biology and just the fascination with creating these environments and I heard I heard that, like, so it never got picked up for a second season. It's a one and done.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
No. But there is a movie by the people who made it. That is meant to be fantastic that I have not watched yet.
Interesting. Okay. I know that, like, if something is a big hit, you want to hope for future sequels and stuff. I think this is a beautiful single season of a show, though. I almost don't feel like a second season would have been necessary, even though there's ties and things to do and parts of the story that are left to explore. It is.
Yeah, I don't feel a second season would be necessary, but I sure would have loved to see what else these guys do.
Yeah, and that part of you that enjoys, I'm sure, like fictional games that don't exist, is also down to read about and learn about fictional creatures and how their life cycles work.
Completely, yeah.
Right. Anyone who's super into a topic and is willing to, like, dive into the details on just a little piece of a world, because, some stories, like, Tolkien is obsessed with the landscape and the geology of the world and how the environment looks, right? And different writers and different authors will have points of focus that they're interested in, and sometimes it's inside the characters, sometimes it's the narrative, sometimes it's all kinds of things. But here it's just it is the concept of animal life, and
yeah, and like it's a hard sell in a lot of ways because like it's the character stories are good, but like they are not the main draw.
No, they're not. And I would say that like you, in the same way that if I got into any video game and I looked up like the details of the codex of the world and saw this type of, you know, description, I'd be like, someone on the team loves this topic and dedicated all their time towards that. This is made for people that are into this topic, you know? And I have a hard time imagining that, like, if you could watch a show like Planet Earth or Life, you know, the real life version of this, and not be interested in seeing a fictional, you know, a depiction of like a creative version of it, you know? So, yeah, real fun stuff. Very solid, really unique recommend here. And
look, I wanted to get weird with it.
Yeah.
I wanted to toss a little curveball.
Off the
we
beaten
have
path.
curvier balls incoming.
Yes. But this is an off the beaten path one for sure. And you know, if anyone liked this, and you know, if you go check out, if you've never played Out of This World, go fucking boot that shit up and enjoy the experience. I would love to see this kind of game exist. Well, I guess there's games like Spore and stuff like that where you're like,
there's
you know,
Sport, there's other stuff as well.
No Man's Sky. You know,
yeah, I think that'd probably be the close thing. But even then, like, I don't want the No Man's Sky randomly generated planet. I want a planet with the same level of thought.
Yes,
that has gone into this planet.
Yes,
don't give me an objective marker. Just let me survive.
Yeah,
just put me on that planet and let me survive.
That's it. It's not that this little sphere of hair rolls around because it's a type of creature in our asset library that just popped up because you walked here. I want to know that like it evolved this way for a reason and somebody thought about
and
it
ties into the entire rest of the ecosystem. 100%. Damn. I mean, something like that. I bet there is something like that, and if not, it will exist, right?
I hope so. It's too fascinating a genre, you know, the ecosystem survival genre. I want to see more in this space. Love it. Let's throw it on there.
Let's take it to the pantheon of greatness. Okay, Woolie, you know how this goes.
Yep.
What are we feeling?
Well, you know, it's definitely better than a lot of those bottom experiences. So I'm coming in here saying that I enjoyed it more than Silent Hill Ascension, Omicron, Missing an FGC Tourney, Sexy Hiking, and every Leprechaun movie. I think it's a better animated single series than Cyber 6. I think it's a more enjoyable experience.
Well, I mean, Cyber 6 had its moments, Willie, for sure.
It did. I think it's a more...
What was that theme song?
That's I believe, how did it go? Something to the effect of, on the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hidey-didey-didey, hooty-dooty-doo.
I thought that was such a strange pick for the Cyber 6 theme song. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, really? From French Canada? Okay, all right. Very odd pick. But it works. You know, it works.
You see, comedy works in threes, ladies and gentlemen. So... I
feel like that's going to be your get out of jail free card in this podcast.
I enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than Police Knots. I liked it more than Fear and Hunger. And it's almost like, because I wasn't into, you know, like fantasy science fiction ecology as a thing, but now I'm like, oh, I have so much respect for the people that are into this, you know, and are willing to like create a fictional like guide to a planet you've never been to, you know. God, I wish I could buy that book. That book that the characters have.
Man, yeah.
Could you imagine? Right? Oh my god. You know what? It just hit me. On my shelf back there, I'm not gonna go get it, but I have Dinotopia. Do you know Dinotopia?
No, I don't.
Oh, Dinotopia is a collection of sketches and descriptions and details of a hidden island where dinosaurs continued existing and are smart and are sentient and sapient and are able to learn language and they have culture. And what if you got whisked away to the invisible, unknown, undiscovered land of Dinotopia? And the explorers from different centuries over the years that have landed there created a human culture that's like this awesome amalgamation of things, and it's just pure fun fantasy culture, you know? And like,
Woolie, there are so many of these books.
there are so many of them. It's a whole franchise, and I was way into it as a kid, right?
This is sick.
It's super sick. And what in particular, like, it all for me started with the first book, right? The first book, before they expanded into novels or anything, was the book with the person riding the Stegosaurus on the front, because it's a large, wide, beautiful art book that shows you the sketches of the plants they found, the explorers of what was safe and what wasn't safe. When we first communicated
so sick.
with the dinosaurs, what was it like? We didn't have
There's
language
like
yet.
size charts and stuff.
Everything, right?
Yeah, dude, this looks so cool.
In a 1700s survival guide sketched by explorers coming across notes and making notes about the world for the first time, all the way to the beautiful.
This just seems like a whole thing. This is kind of incredible.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was big into that, and this has like that where I'm like, oh, I have so much respect for the mind that wants to think about all these little details of the world. What do they eat? How do they grow it?
Someone who puts world building front and center.
Front and center above everything
yeah.
else. So to that end, I love that. Yeah, it's gonna go above Fear and Hunger. It's gonna go above Caribbean Food.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, this is stickier earlier than I thought would be the case here.
No. It's unique. It's incredibly unique. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I think it's going to go above Twin Peaks Season 1.
Okay.
And I think it'll sit under Darkest Dungeon 2.
Okay, cool. So that is your new number 19, Scavengers Reign. I gotta say, I expected to see it go further, but I'm not gonna disagree.
I think it's I really liked it. It's a unexpected fun thing, and it's not disrespect in any way. I mean, there's a lot of awesome in there, but like, I'm recommending it strongly to people for sure.
Well, I guess the difference between this and Gavv is that Scavengers Reign is this really fascinating, cool thing, but maybe not like the soul resonance of where has this been my whole life.
Perhaps not. Perhaps not. But it really does stand out as a genre that I never really thought about as a thing. Where
Yeah,
I'm like,
it is absolutely like one of the most unique and interesting things on our board.
yeah, I would love to like tune into like I'd like to like go to like a like a channel where like every week they just showed you a little 1-minute story about a creature, a fictional creature that like survives in some weird way on the planet. You know what I mean? Like I could get into some sort of strange Shark Week for alien sharks.
Yeah.
And
what I would say, like if I was to level the criticism at it, in the last episode or so, it does become a more human story, like a conflict between two parties.
Definitely.
And like it was well done, it was fine. It's just not what I love about that show.
Yeah, I think so. I do. In the end, though, I liked the characters enough that I was invested in where it was going with them, and I would also say too that like it centers Levi's arc and growth in a really strong way that was very satisfying, and that to me like is the best part of like how that story ends.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. I'm okay with that.
Cool. Okay. Woolie, it's time. Recommend or die.
Shall I start?
Why don't you start, Woolie?
Okay. Well, hey, I think that you have had some stress. I think you've had some ups and downs. I think you've
been
had
a stressful couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's been a little rocky on the road to Dublin. But I think that taking some time to relax and soothe yourself with some relaxing activities is in order. So how about this? What say you take a nice little, I don't know, maybe like a Sunday, put some music on, right? Find a little table and get out your gunpla, because you're getting a Gundam plastic figure, and you're gonna cut some plastic and you're gonna piece it together.
Are you serious?
You're going to decide whether you're getting a 1/144 figure or larger. You're gonna take a look. You're gonna see whether you want to go with a high grade or a master grade, or if you're feeling real frisky, you got a fucking perfect grade up there, I'll tell you what. And I want you to pick a Gundam that you like and build a gunpla. Now,
That is crazy. Okay.
Now, we're not fucking around here either, because we're not just going to stick some decals on that sumbitch. You're going to get some paints.
Oh, God. Okay. All right.
And you're going to get some paints, and you're going to do this the right way. You're going to get that experience and the relaxing building your little Gundam on a Sunday vibes.
Okay. Does this have to expressly be done on a Sunday?
No, it doesn't have to be expressly done on a Sunday.
Is there a limitation to the kind of second screen activity I can have on while I do it? Can I only listen to music? Can I listen to podcasts? Can I watch YouTube videos?
You can do anything you want to relax while you build a Gundam, because that is the vibe that I and many other people that have built little gunpla want to get across. It's a fun, chill thing to do. To just click on that plastic, clean it up.
Does it have...
And piece it together. Follow the instructions.
Does it have to be a Gundam, or can it be a Zaku?
So this is where we open up the doors a little bit. All right.
Okay.
Now the point is that it should be something you care about, because the more you care about the thing, the more, it's resonant, right? So I tell that, yeah, you might like a Zaku. I know that you also like G-Witch, right? So
G-Witch?
Witch from Mercury.
Oh, yeah, I do. I do very much enjoy that.
Yeah, so you got some options out there. I mean, you might even want a kit that's not Gundam necessarily, even. But I think it would be cool if it was, just because that's.
I think I'll probably stick with Gundam. I think let's do this proper.
And so you might just need to take a look at the lay of the land. You got some options over at Hobby Frontline Ireland. So,
is that a physical store?
There's options that you can.
Okay, I think I gotta go to the store, and I think I just gotta pick one, and I gotta record that process.
And here's the thing: when it comes to painting and doing that all properly, getting the decals going and stuff, it's a process. You got to learn a little bit. There's some learning how to clean the nubs up and get it all together and looking good is a little tricky. So, your Gundam Sherpas will be in touch shortly.
What? Who?
There are some folks that might be, in your vicinity that have some paints and some tools and some things that
I know these people.
They might be closer than you think.
Wait, who are you talking about?
One of them might be a paper bag animator,
Okay. I see my inner sanctum has been infiltrated.
So, listen, you got some options out there for you, you know? But the point is, pick a kit that fits you, pick the difficulty and the size that matches what you're up for, and, get the fuck in there. Show me what you got.
Okay. I wanna just place some what's the word?
Stipulations?
Expectations.
Okay.
It has been the history of my life that these hands destroy more than they create.
Okay.
I am not an especially delicate person, and constructing things generally does not go as well as damaging things.
Okay.
Now, I will try my best, and I will give it 100%.
Okay. That's fine. My only condition here is you cannot simply piece it together with the dirty nub sticking out and put some sticker decals on it. You gotta go a little further than that. You gotta put some love on that thing.
So, okay, what do I do instead of sticker decals?
Oh, well, I mean, using your paints to like go over it, and like you can put them on, but then you want to finish over it with like extra touches.
So I'm trying to create a beautiful Gundam.
Yes. Now here's the thing: experts won't even put the sticker on; they'll just like paint it on completely. We're not going to go to an expert level necessarily. We're starting out here, but just
or will we? No, we won't.
But I will refer to your Sherpas for a little bit.
You keep saying Sherpas plural. Is there another?
I mean, you got there's there's some folks.
I feel like I'm about to activate a Yakuza side quest.
You are about to activate a Yakuza side quest because basically, like, I think it would be a bit nuts to be like, "Hey, yo, John, go buy an airbrush." You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a bit much for a monthly challenge on that, but. There's some folks that have done some Gundam painting around you, and so their help has been enlisted to make sure that you have
the slightly ominous geographic aspect of this recommendation is unsettling. I just want to say,
well,
it's just
it's
like Woolie. Here's what you're doing, right? There's some people near you who are gonna give you the help you need, buddy, and they might be a little closer than you think. Like, it's ghoulish, Woolie. It's ghoulish.
I just don't want to send you out into a cold, unprepared, world of what do I buy, how do I get to it, what am I doing, where am I going, and I'm not there to guide your process or your hand to go get the kid of your choice and what to do. But fortunately, I know some good folk that can, as do you. So they'll be around for that. Because you gotta go find the kit, and you gotta go find some paints, and you gotta go find a place to use them, right? That's what it comes down to. So,
Okay. I'm gonna do this. All
right.
I'm guessing it's kind of the. It's good. One last question. I'm guessing it's kind of the nature of this. This isn't a stream. This is a relax thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to broadcast all of that. You gotta, just enjoy yourself. You can film bits if you want to. I mean, whatever. But
I'm gonna document shit for sure. I'm going to. Yep.
But that's it. Show us your gunpla.
Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Well. That's a good recommendation, Woolie.
Thank you. Is it a little out there? Is it a little fun? Is it a little off the beaten path?
It's fun.
Unpredictable? Did anyone see this coming? Huh?
I didn't.
There we go.
Didn't. Yeah. But like, we're having fun. I think we're definitely having a lot of fun. And it's one of the reasons that like I'm so glad that like I guess I kind of started the forgiveness era stuff,
I mean, look, I can't wait to talk about some fun stuff about, little plastic models. next month. And I've personally, and I'm also like putting this out there to the public. I've got like an Ikaruga model kit sitting here that hasn't been built yet, because I kind of want someone who's like an expert who's really good at painting to like perhaps commission to get this to them. So if you're in the Montreal area and you can like help me figure this out, like reach out, because it'd be really cool. And let's get some plastic model.
What the fuck is happening?
Let's get some plastic model discussion happening here on Versus Wolves. Let's get into it.
Are you using this as a platform to find someone to paint your Karuga kit?
I mean, if anybody knows out there, I'm definitely willing to.
Okay. But yeah, no, like in general, I feel like the Forgiveness era is going like really super well. In a lot of ways, at least. Like, how do you feel?
I enjoyed Scavengers Reign. And I thought that was a good time.
Yeah, you did. And I certainly feel like the podcast has kind of like dropped a weight around its neck. Like I feel lighter. I feel like I'm having more fun on the episodes. I kind of feel I just feel like we've let a lot of stuff go,
Wait on the neck.
However, I think if there's one failing of the Forgiveness era so far, I feel like you don't really get the depth of my forgiveness, Woolie.
Okay. Letting a weight around the neck, depth. Yep. Yep.
Woolie, I want to ask you a question, and I don't want this to come across as like aggressive.
What underwater-based activity are you getting at, John?
You are barking up the wrong tree, my friend.
All right.
I just want to ask you a question, okay? What am I forgiving you for?
Your own hubris, perhaps. Your strange new I don't know if you have the tattoo or not bit. Your who knows? Maybe you're maybe you're over the details. You've forgotten about the nature of what counts as a combo breaker or not. The amount of content that needs to be consumed for a pick to be valid. Maybe that's what's being forgiven.
That's okay. Let it all out. Let it all out, buddy. It's all right. No, Woolie, it's none of that.
My bad.
It's all of that, but it's none of that. I'm forgiving you, Woolie, for the original sin.
The tournament you didn't get to?
Oh, so much further back than that, Woolie. I'm forgiving you for 12 years ago opening your mouth on a podcast and talking a bunch of nonsense about a show that you did not even have the decency to clarify which version of the show you were talking about. A little ill thought out rant that shot across the internet and changed my life for fucking ever. For better or for worse does not matter. My life was not yours to change. But you did. And you never thought about it, and you never apologized for me, and you never had my consent. But that's what you did. You had your little spiel, you think it would just not matter, and it did matter, Woolie, and here we are. I forgive you for that. Do you understand?
I am extremely curious if you're about to do what I think you're about to do. What are you about to do, John?
I feel the true depth of my forgiveness has not been felt.
Depth.
And that's a problem because I need you to understand how okay everything now is between us. And that leaves me with very limited items to choose from because this has to be big. This has to make an impression. And this has to leave me with one option, Woolie. The one thing I have been holding back since the first episode of this podcast. Woolie, I'm recommending you a sequel. I recommend you Mother 3.
All right. All right.
The greatest treasure I have, Woolie.
All
Let
right.
it be a jewel of forgiveness around your neck.
Okay. All right.
There is one stipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I only want Mother 3 to be considered for the Pantheon after you have defeated the full game. If you cannot do it in 1 month, that's okay. I respect your time.
But it can't
That's
go up
fine.
until then.
No.
Okay. John, I accept your recommend. I give no combo breaker.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to I want you to just, while you're monologuing, appreciate that over the months of setup and lead-ins that I have chosen not to prepare a combo breaker for this game. I have elected of my own volition to let this come. I could have shut down your entire bullshit immediately by simply playing...
Woolie, what bullshit? I'm trying to do something nice for you, my friend.
And I'm doing something nice for you by just letting you know in advance that I did not cancel the discussion because I chose not to prepare for what I knew was coming.
I don't know where this energy is coming from. This is genuinely me doing something from the bottom of my heart for one of my closest friends.
Okay.
Genuinely.
Okay. Just do you but you know that, right? You know that I at any moment from the moment I knew this was coming could have and would have done all the prep work off screen just to be able to shut this moment down. And I chose not to.
So why didn't you?
I wanted to give you the discussion of what is probably one of your favorite games of all time. I can feel it.
Second favorite.
I can
Second
feel it.
Favorite.
I wanted to give you that, right?
Okay.
Look how much I did behind the scenes without your knowledge, right? Don't say that I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. It's a crazy thing, isn't it? When people just prepare these big schemes on this podcast. It's wild. With that, Woolie,
Yeah,
I think that's the end of the episode, right?
That's all right. That's all right. You know, as long as you know that like it's a gift wrapped experience that I'm.
Oh, it's a gift I appreciate so much,
Good,
Woolie.
good.
So much, and I hope my only gift to you is Mother 3.
Okay.
There is one more. What were we gonna say?
I was just gonna say, every time you open that mouth to put anything out there into the air, understand that I choose to not put defenses up so that we can enjoy these discussions together.
Absolutely, Woolie. I feel exactly the same.
Good. We're on the same page. All right. Excellent. Great.
So, one tiny, small little thing. Two.
This bit sucks.
See you guys next time.
All right.